He's definitely a
Welcome
bit of a
to
sweetie.
Wax Wednesday, Catterday edition.
It's Catterday. Oh wait, hold on. Did I not share the entire window?
Your screen went
Chrome
black.
tab. Yeah, I want to share this window, I guess. So now it should
Yeah, now it's working.
change when I change windows. Yeah, okay, good. Here we go. Because first thing I'm doing here while we're starting up is jumping over and seeing how's my farm going. Ugh, it's taking forever to load its rewards. Show me staked only.
Remember when I tried to restake to the farm, it said didn't have enough RAM.
Oh damn! Which like you didn't have or the farm didn't?
I didn't for the LSW
Oh.
Wax, but I staked to that exact farm last week. So it's like, why did I have enough
Oh.
RAM last week but not enough RAM this week? I don't know what's going on there, but
I did notice that like you are still staked to the old farms. Like if you go to toggle to finished like this, you see
well, maybe
these
that's
I'm still
why.
staking even though these are all dead. So I feel like this probably doesn't unlock the RAM until you unstake. So if you toggle to the finished section, you might see that you're like staking to finished farms.
That's probably exactly what it is. This is also
Yeah.
my like cold storage wallet for the most part, so I don't really have a lot of RAM on there because I don't do anything on it. But that's probably exactly what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was like retopping off, like, because the FTW Neon farm ended its wolf rewards, and I could, if I wanted to, I could top off those rewards again, and that would make it so that anyone who was staked to the farm and never pulled from it yet would automatically still be staked, because like they're still staked to it. It's just finished. So I think that's like how it works. Since every week they're adding a new farm, it's like creating a whole new thing and slowly eating up slight amounts of RAM. Damn, some of these APRs are huge. 854% for this one. So for my personal wallet, biggest ones are like FTW, I guess, is in the 300s. And then I got my Wax Booty still cooking at 116. I guess Rook and
Got my cats
LSW
on
is probably the
stream.
most lucrative one.
Say hello to our first. Oh, let's get it.
Oh, yeah. Is the cat making an appearance? Oh,
There he
hello,
is.
guys.
Gaspar.
That's
Say
him.
hello,
He's a,
Gaspar.
you could probably hear
He's
him purring
tiny.
if you hold him to the mic correctly. He purrs. It's super cute. Oh, and he loves to be handled. All the cats love to be handled.
He's not purring right now, but he's interested in the mic.
He's got things to say.
I don't know where Pierre went, but I'll show him off next time he comes back.
What up, Buzz King? Yo, yo. Quadrell's in the house. I see Chucky. I see
Yeah, we got
Slayer.
a cat sitting two cats right now. That's our.
Yeah, Marcy's also still here. Still hanging.
Cats are pretty fun to have. It's like you don't need a
I'll
TV if you
refresh.
have two cats. You can just watch them fool around all day.
Yeah, I ended up doing that yesterday. Like I paused the show because I was watching Marcy and the cats like getting acquainted, and then like my Apple TV went to screensaver mode because I was watching them for so long. I was like, oh yeah,
I
kitty
wonder if
cats.
they'll be rambunctious for that rambunctious always, or just because they're kittens right now.
Right.
I
Wow.
feel like
What do
they'll
we got
probably
here?
chill out a bit when they get
22.
older.
All right. I'm going to go through and do a little bit of liquidity reward farming here on my yield farming wallet. I guess you can kind of see live what I constantly do with my LP farm. So I guess if you are looking at my screen, these are all liquidity farms that I have for FTW wallet, staking and earning these rewards, which I just claimed, so they don't look impressive right now. But you can see, like my woof, for example, I make like 10 woof every second. See, it's at 170 already, 180, 190, 200 woof, 216, 225, 234. Not bad. Also like almost 1 FTW per second. Either way, next step I do is I'll go over here to Wax on Edge, sign into my yield farming wallet as well. And lately what I've been doing is I've been checking like how much I got in LS Wax, because LS Wax is going to be the pair I'm going to deepen. Because looking back at my farms here, I have LS Wax FTW and Wax FTW, but it looks like the LS Wax is paying a higher APR. And since these are both basically the same pool, I'm going to go deeper into the LS Wax one. So now what I do is toggle this guy. First, I check LS Wax I have 70 cents of. And so I'm going to try, without touching my woof, my goal is to try to change everything else that I've earned from yield farming, which is going to be Rook, this Trump and Harris X token, and this Wax RC. I'm going to try to take all of those and swap them into FTW. So, first thing, toggle this guy to FTW and take a look at my chart.
Like voting tokens?
Yeah, I did a little bit of the votes. I played around with like the app, and then I still have Brawl and XPX, which is printing like 120-ish% in those tokens. Lately, I've just been selling what I have after I've submitted a few of my votes and messed with their like platform. I was like, okay, I've done my votes. I don't know. Like doing them every day isn't something I've been doing. So lately, I've been just selling these. But the XPX token also has an interesting kind of like soft peg to Wax, where like every time you buy an amount of it, like it's basically it splits up the Wax that you used to buy the XPX token, and puts it back into buy orders to buy back XPX at like 0.96 or something, or 996, or I don't know. Like there's a distribution of it. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see how it plays out. But for now, I'm trying to match my 71.5 cents in LS Wax that I earned from farming with 71 cents worth of FTW. So first I'm going to take my Rook, which is about 30. Oh, not bad. That gets me 100,000 FTW tokens. And I'll swap those.
I have a cat update that I have to do real quick. Oh. Can you see my phone all right?
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, guess that's wait, that's not Gaspar, that's Pierre. Jean-Pierre. You can only see him because it is white.
It's both of them. They're cuddling.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I can only see Jean-Pierre.
Let me see if I can get my flashlight on. I think turning my. Oh, never mind. They got up. Yeah, they were grooming each other.
I could only see the white spots on the black and white one.
There's Jean-Pierre, and Gaspar's probably still in the corner.
Hello, Jean-Pierre. Yeah. Pierre's a little bit bigger than Gaspar, but they're both super duper cute. Yeah, this one I can't really see.
Yeah, he's too dark. Hello, and my Pierre. Lights aren't over there, but
Pierre has little white socks.
Back to crypto content.
It's super cute. He's got little white socks. Let's see. Oh yeah, so what I was doing is I'm swapping all my rewards. I do this pretty much every day or every other day whenever I'm dicking around with my yield farming wallet. It's like my ongoing way to grow my own position in FTW tokens rather than like give myself a bunch. I just use my yield farming rewards to buy them myself. So here we go. I'm swapping my Trump tokens. That gets me like, it looks like 70,000 FTW.
Those tokens are supposed to be like a way to vote for who's going to be president, like whichever token gets minted more or something.
Yeah, it's like whichever token, like they both get minted, I think, relatively evenly. Like you can see, I get 50 million on both sides of this, and then the goal is like, I guess I can show that off after I finish doing this thing. There's like a map, and you can like log in with your wallet, and then you can vote for either candidate using their respective token. The idea being that you would take the token that you want to vote for and vote for your candidate, and then take the token you don't want to vote for and dump it on the market to like
So it's
dump the
based on the
value of the
price.
one you don't like.
Okay, I have
Yeah.
another cat
Well, then it's
update.
like, oh, here we go. Hold on, I gotta make this swap. 10,000 FTWs. What I want.
See them?
Let's see. Oh yeah, there they are. The orange blanket makes it a lot easier to see them cuddling. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're super duper cute. They also are like pretty chill. Like I haven't gotten scratched super badly, except for day one when Marcy freaked them out and he scratched me a little bit when he was trying to escape. But yeah, they're really like gentle and friendly, and they really like people. Like when you have company over too, like they don't hide. They're not scared at all of new people. They're totally cool with being handled, and it's super duper cute. Especially, for them being little kittens, it's wild. Like they have like the disposition that my other cat had when he was like 18 or 17 years old. Like after he stopped really being like timid and scared and just was like, whatever, this is like I'm cool with everything now. But these guys are basically already there, and they're like a couple months old. Oh my goodness, look at him. He's getting kicked in the face. I'm still waiting for Marcy to get in on this grooming. I feel like if Marcy gets groomed, then that's a pretty good sign that they are super cool with Marcy. Oh my gosh. But the more we have had those cats, the more difficult it's going to be to say goodbye when the foster parents come back. It's I don't know. I'm still on the like I don't know. I want cats. And these cats are super awesome. So
I'm
I
definitely
don't know.
on team keep the cats at this point.
Yeah, they're pretty great. It's only like the main thing holding me back is like I'm planning a couple like trips this year, and it's already enough like effort to try to get someone to watch Marcy, but watch Marcy and a couple cats might be like a harder sell.
I mean,
But I
as long
also
as
feel
I'm
like,
not traveling, I can watch the
right, it's
cat.
like I feel like most of the time like yeah, and it's not that much more effort to watch. Like if you're coming to walk Marcy or do something like with Marcy, I guess I mean if someone's watching Marcy, they'll probably take Marcy with her and watch her 24/7. But for watching cats, I feel like you don't really need that much effort. You can just come by like a couple times a day, feed them, make sure the litter box is clean, give them some love, and they'll be okay for like a week or
Cats are
whatever.
pretty low maintenance, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
especially with two of them. Like they definitely like we left the other day and they didn't give a fuck. Like I was watching them on like the nanny cam monitor, and like they were just playing with each other and like chasing each other, and like I don't know, they weren't like lonely.
They
Like
care
Marcy
less
gets
about getting
lonely
left than Marcy by a lot. Marcy freaks out.
by a lot. Yeah.
When are your guys' trips? I mean,
I know
maybe
there's
Christmas would be like
one.
the only time that I would be gone at the same time as you guys, probably.
Yeah, there's one Christmas, and we're taking Marcy with us for that. So it's like I would only need to like reach out to someone who I know is staying in town that could maybe come by and feed them and stuff. So that shouldn't be impossible. And then there's a like end of like next month or something. Like Paul has there's like a comedy festival in New York that one of Paul's teams got into, that we're possibly doing like a 1 week ish, not more than a week, and probably less than a week in New York. New York is just crazy expensive, but that's one we'd probably need to like find some. Like I guess if
I
you're
mean, I'll be here
around,
for
then it'd be
that.
like, yeah, that wouldn't really be that big of an issue. And that's like literally the main thing that I keep thinking is like, well, when we travel, it might be hassle. Or like the other thing that I always hear is like, oh, if you ever have to move, like it's harder to find a place. But it's like, I don't know, not really. Like if you already have a pet, you have to find a pet friendly place anyway. And then most of those places like doesn't really matter if you have one or two. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of like things that are like, oh, this might be a hassle, but in reality, it's like I don't really think so. I feel like none of those hassles outweigh the benefits of having a couple like cute little cats running around.
I mean, it does make waking up every day more fun. Seeing the
Yeah,
animals
it does.
hang out and say hello.
Right. Also, just like hanging out and in general, I feel like just like lounging around the house is more fun when there's like animals having like a blast. All right, next step I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna stake my FTW wax, uh, FTW LSW wax. So go back to pools.
Is this on your personal wallet or the?
Yeah, this is just on my uh, FTW or my yield farming wallet. I'm basically trying to build my own like personal position in FTW, but my wallets were blacklisted from the airdrop that I copied and pasted the airdrop to for the Neon Cronenbergs. And I didn't really like just give myself a bunch of tokens either, so I've basically just been buying them. Which is fine because I buy them only with like rewards that I earn every day. Oh, here you go. So now my 22.8 wax, I'm taking 21 of that and adding that to the FTW LP. Plus, the upside of doing it that way is I launched, like, I did a stealth launch for the FTW token with, like, I think, like, a total of, like, $200 worth of liquidity. Mostly because I wanted to do, like, a meme coin stealth launch that is appropriately low liquidity for how, like, little volume there is on wax in the first place. Like, if I was going to do it on ETH mainnet, I'd probably put it up with, like, $3,000 or $4,000 in counterpart liquidity versus, like, 200. But the upside of that is it doesn't take much to make the price go up when I buy it with my stake rewards. And so there you go. I just finished buying, and then just like that on the like 15-minute or like lower time frames, you'll end up seeing that's basically, I don't know, this big jump isn't me, but like a lot of the like daily, like when it kind of moves up on a day-to-day basis is because I'm just buying from my rewards and adding them to the FTW pool. And then what I also was doing is staking them in WaxDAO. If you go to WaxDAO under earn, not NFT, there's token staking. And then it'll go for, oh, you know what? It's kind of weird to get to it because I feel like this is like the old interface for token staking. So what I have to do is go to tools, and then go to token farm creator, which takes you to a different interface here. So when you then go to browse farms, it's loading these farms, right? Compared to these farms. So there's definitely like a strange disconnect.
Tell Mike that there should be like maybe an earn.
Yeah,
There's like a V1 and a V2 for token farms, and you can access.
Yeah, he said he's gonna like marry it all, and like the interface is getting a facelift. So I think he's aware at the moment. But here's the one I have my FTW, and I will, if I have any excess in my first FTW wallet, I'll stake those here. And you can see they are paying out until 7/23/2025. So this pool is just cooking along for the next year. And if we click on the for the win name of the pool, it'll actually take you to the page for the pool itself, and you can look at the leaderboard and see who's staking to it. And you can see I, with my first FTW, am closing in on the first place position. Someone has 50 million staked, and I'm at almost 41 now. But not bad. Like between all of this too, like if we look at the farm, there's 127 million of these FTW tokens staked. This should be a decimal, not a comma, so that's interesting as well. But yeah, the FTW token has 6 places of after the decimal, so this number needs a decimal here, and so you can see that's about, what is that, about like about 12%, I guess, of the total token supply is staked in this farm. But it's not super diversified. You can see of all of the stake, like these three wallets hold the vast majority of it. Which is kind of fun. But either way, that's just a little background stuff going on here. In the future, I'll probably add more rewards to this farm as well. Possibly in the form of like Wax DAO or some other tokens. I have a shit ton of them. I'm just waiting for them to have more utilities so that it's like worthwhile, so that people like who want them can stake them and earn something that they can actually use. Until then, I'm just kind of accumulating them from my own stake pools and stuff. But now that I've done all that, so I've bought back all like basically all my rewards I've turned into FTW that weren't LSW or WOOF. And then now what I like to do after I've done that is now we'll take my WOOF and 50-50 split it deeper back into Taco. Taco Swap is where I have my WOOF liquidity, just like we do in our DeFi wallet. You can see here it is. There's 187 million WOOF against 5,600 Wax there. And so if I go to meal, or I don't even have to go to meal, I just have to go to account and rewards. I can pull my rewards from that for the day as well. And let's sign this. Once I have that, I'm going to turn half of my WOOF into Wax and then, deepen that liquidity pool. Weird. Why isn't it popping? It's not prompting me to sign. That's weird. That's happened to me before where like certain sites, when you click like open Anchor, it just doesn't. So what has worked for me in the past is like opening the actual Anchor wallet like dialog box and clicking like Ledger like on and off, kind of like Ledger support on and off. Let's see if that makes it more inclined to work. Yeah, not today. Well, I'll just let this ride for now. I guess if I go to liquidity, I wonder if it'll if it's just the claim rewards that isn't working. Let's see. Say add liquidity. No, it's just Taco isn't like prompting my Anchor wallet to open. Yeah, well, whatevs. So then what I'll do in that case is I'll just take the rest of my WOOF and I'll just split it WOOF and FTW because that pool also pays in WOOF and pretty well. Plus I can get 80k, and that makes it so that my yield farming wallet is participating in all of the FTW pools, which I don't hate doing that. Mostly, I mean, it's a lot easier for me because I know the token FTW contract because I own it. But it's personally, I find it's pretty easy to like yield farm a token that doesn't have an inflation mechanism. Like all of these tokens just exist. So here we go. And then, yeah, same with like the APR that they're paid comes from, oh, I'm already on pools. That's why. It just comes from the fees that are generated from the trade volume that's coming into this. So we'll see. It's kind of easy to maintain this for now. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to join the pool at full range and then add 300,000 against 80. Looks like I'm going to have to do 80,000 against 324. Boom. And just because Taco wouldn't prompt my wallet to open, that's the one we're going to do. Or the one I'm going to do now. Okay, so now you can actually, this is a kind of a full overview of the liquidity positions I have in this wallet. This one I never touched. This is just Neon and Wax from 0 to infinity. And this one has been sitting there for fucking ever. But then Rook and LSW, this is a relatively new one, and it's gotten to be my biggest LP farm right now, mostly because the Rook token has such deep liquidity, and the creator said that he's not selling any of it. which I'm taking him at his word for that. Hopefully that's true. And the APR on those farms is by far one of the higher APRs out there right now, with like 170% or something. Next biggest position I have in this wallet is LSW LS Wax. I should say LSW LS Wax narrow. So if I look at this, you can see the range is between 0.5 and 0.7. So very tight range for this liquidity. And it has the bulk of my liquidity in it. You can see I've already earned, like 2.5 LSW and 2.4 LS Wax just from the fees. And then on top of that, it's earning today, if you or I guess yesterday already, but if you haven't yet, you'll want to go to your farms and restake this, because these the rewards for these, if I go to farms here, we'll see it here. These rewards get renewed every 7 days and require you to manually stake them. At least for now. There's a change to that in the works, where in the future they'll just get topped up rather than renewed, or recreated rather. Next, SDM Wax. We have that same position in our own wallet, in our DeFi wallet too. And that's one here. If I go to Wax and SDM, you can kind of see the trajectory of that token pair has continually been, SDM, pretty positive. And Dark Country is a game that was already around when I first got on Wax. So it's like a well-established, long-running kind of like property that this is associated with, at least. And then here we can see this is a daily chart. So you can see in terms of Wax, like all week, for example, we've actually been appreciating in Wax. So this is great. Honestly, just being flat at the rate that it's paying me would have been fine. So SDM, that's a big position for me. I think 3,000 on the Wax side of this infinite range, full range position. Next, I have my LSW LS Wax wide position. So you can kind of see my narrow position is about twice as big. You can see it's like about $200 in there, while there's about $100 in the wide one. If I click on it, you can get a sense here. If we zoom in again, that's the wide position. So you can see it goes 3.4% in one direction and 1.3% in the other. So, multiple percentages of liquidity depth that I'm supplying to. And so if the LSW, LS Wax market gets more volatile, the goal is to catch some of that volatility by having, it's like if my narrow range goes out of range, this one won't be out of range just yet. Next, I have Neon Wolf. I've been doing this one also kind of for shits with my own, just like I bought the Neon, I bought the Wolf, or I got airdropped the Wolf. And I've just been pairing these just to create some kind of like more volume for the Neon Wax pool. So anyone who's in Neon Wax, now that there's a Neon Wolf pool around, there's arbitrage opportunities as the price of Wolf changes relative to Wax. There's reasons for people to buy Wolf with Neon and then sell the Wolf back to Wax, or buy Wax with a Neon and then sell the Wax into Wolf to claim that arbitrage difference. This pool I also don't really mess with anymore. Now that it's kind of like sitting here, it's going to do its own thing. This is also not one there's no rewards paid to this one, and I'm not staking this Neon liquidity. So if we go to my farms, under staked only here, you won't see Wax Neon. Because the goal is, not to dilute the pool. It gives everyone else who's actually staking it a higher APR, which is basically the same thing that the creator of the Rook LSW pool is doing, where like you can see how deep that pool is total. Like this position is 3,600. So this is like 7,000 Wax of bilateral depth, and I'm only 0.4% of the total liquidity. But you can also see when I go to the farms tab, even though I'm only 0.4% of the total liquidity pool, I'm earning 30% of the rewards here. And so obviously the vast majority of that liquidity pool is not staked, which is why my APR is as high as it is. So same principle as to why I'm not staking my Wax Neon. Next down the list, I have Wax Booty Wax. We've been in this one for a while in our own wallet. Everyone kind of knows about this one. Is from the Pirates of the Degen, I think, which is like an NFT / streaming kind of like collective where you can participate in secondary market ownership of certain things through NFT ownership, which I think you buy those NFTs or you craft them with NFTs that you buy in packs and packs that you buy with Wax Booty, and Wax Booty that you can earn from watching their stream, I believe. Either way, I'm in that pool.
Degen Andy is. I always forget because he's got like a different Discord name than his stream name, but I think
Yeah,
Degen Andy is
Captain
either
Degen.
his one of those two names.
Yeah, but this one I've been in for a long time. This one still has a solid APR and a decent runway with 41 days. Also, I do believe this APR came from a boost that was given to their pool by Alcor last time I heard. Don't quote me on that, but I heard that like there was a voting, like, hey, which LP should we like incentivize? And I believe Wax Booty was one of the winners of an Alcor LP incentive distribution. I think that's also why we had two separate Woofy rewards simultaneously paying out for that pool for a while, is because one of them was from the team and one of them was from the Alcor, if I understood that all correctly.
I wonder how the vote
Next down the list. Right? Yeah, I know it was on Twitter, so I don't know if it was just like based on like tweets. I responded to the Twitter one and I said to boost Wax Neon, but you know, I'm biased. Next down the list, I have Brawl and APX. Brawl I bought recently after like seeing what happened to the chart. So Brawl had like a development update not too long ago, which they like updated all the like things that had been worked on recently. They were like, this was done, these fixes were made, these changes were made. Nothing really major was announced, but that announcement coincided with a huge sell-off. Like, look at this massive sell-off. So I think it's possible that maybe some of the like longer-term like holders of Brawl, like here if we look at what that sell-off like, you know, it took us down 60% from where we were not terribly long ago, and definitely to a new low price for if we go to the daily chart now. For a long time. So we were below the kind of floor that we'd established before we got this kind of huge blow off. And we've been above that for quite a while. And this aggressive drop signaled kind of like, I mean, to me, I took it as a little bit of a buying opportunity. I was like, okay, everything's taking a shit. There's no real reason for it to take a shit. Like nothing that, you know, nothing about the game is worse off or anything anywhere, like nothing happened that merits this other than like, you know, just redistribution event. Like a big holder probably got tired of waiting for something and took some profits or whatever, and because this token isn't being distributed anymore, like the mining phase of Brawl is over, these events will just distribute the holders, you know, like from whales into smaller holder wallets. And as the token matures over time, these types of event become less and less. And so the idea here was, you know, okay, I bought some of these tokens after this huge event, expecting it to like.
We got some insight here. This
Let's
OKX. I think MM's probably market makers and holders selling due to delisting. So it got delisted from a centralized exchange.
There you go. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense why we got a big price action. But either way, that doesn't change. Like same, that makes it hold true what I'm just saying. It's like nothing like happened that, you know, nothing was exploited. Nothing was like deadlines were missed. Nothing other than, oh, a market maker sold because a delisting event happened, which generally, I mean, it's not great, but again, it is a distribution event. You know, like a big market maker just dumped on a bunch of smaller holders, and now that amount of dump can't happen ever again, basically, as it's been absorbed by smaller holders, you know, to the tune of a big ass loss too by people who are holding or buying around here. But I hadn't been holding on to Brawl because I hadn't been playing the game much recently. And when I saw a big sell like this, I was like, okay, I'm interested. I bought a little bit of Brawl and I paired it with the XPX token for that reward to try to dick around with. And I guess might as well just pull it up now to dick around with X Party Win, I think it's called. Yeah, this is it. And so this is like I believe the creator of this was on like the Nifty show not too long ago. if you wanted to like dig up some like insight on this. Personally, I'm just messing around with this to the tune of $35. This is the full exposure I have, I think, to XPX, PX. And as someone who's like, yield farming on this chain quite aggressively, I want to participate in any kind of like nonsense token that people are building that's actively being like developed. So I was excited to see somebody putting some kind of like token thing out there. I like the idea of like, voting with your crypto or whatever. And so I was like, I'll play this and I'll throw some brawl, which maybe will go up. And then again, XPX, like I said, has a here, I'll show you XPX's chart, has like a trajectory that should hold a soft peg to wax. So it shouldn't necessarily like moon or dump a whole lot. Obviously, maybe like on day one, you have like day one shenanigan shit. But beyond that, we come here. It's more or less hovering between, 1.01 and the bottom of this being like 0.98, which is not terrible as far as like the soft peg seems to be maintaining. I'm not sure if the mechanism is going to be able to hold the peg indefinitely, but I do also know that if you look, for example, if you look at the farms, there isn't an inflation metric to the XPX token. Like there isn't a like you can't hear XPX. You won't find it as a reward token on any of these LPs. It's always like the voting tokens from this thing that are being distributed this way. The XPX token is distributed, I think, purely through the LP. And when it is bought from the LP, like I said, there is counterpart like liquidity. The buying liquidity that's being used is being used to put up limit buys to buy back the token at specific price points, which should then help to support the peg. I mean, we'll see if it all plays out like that. Also, you can see these APRs. I've chosen my XPX Brawl pool based on like the higher APR payout with a relatively stable like asset like Brawl compared to something like, I guess Nefty's still putting up a higher, and I don't hate Nefty either, so I might mess with this as well. But for now, I'm only having like that single token exposure. And if we look here, I guess I can log in. I can show you what that like looks like. The like platform that's built around this. And again, I think it's just built for fun, from what I could tell. So this isn't like meant to be some kind of like play to earn or whatever.
I heard this is going to decide the actual U.S. elections. They're no longer going to be doing ballots. You vote on Wax, the Wax blockchain. It's pretty big news.
Yeah, exactly. The U.S. government's behind it. But yeah, no, like you can, if you have like you've logged in with your wallet, I could then scroll to my own state or any state. You don't have to vote where you live, but like let's say I do go to California, I could then be like, okay, use a zip code in California like 919. How about 90210? That's the zip code to the Orange County area, which people maybe know from the TV show The OC. Then I can say like I want to vote with 10,000 of my tokens, and I want to use, I want to vote for Trump or I want to
The
vote for
memo
Harris.
says, "What policies do you want from this candidate?"
You can choose. Yeah, I never filled out a memo before, but in the past I have voted like over 100,000 of the like tokens just to like play around with it. I wonder if it can show me where my votes are, because it's not super clear to me. I've always voted in California, and it looks like 6 million Trump votes against 11
telling you Trump and Biden.
billion.
I think that's from the last election.
Oh, this is like actual election data. So yeah, I'm not sure what the like X token election data is and how to read that, but I do like the like, this isn't a super like copy paste. Let me slap together some bullshit and make another like dumbass meme coin. Like this actually has some type of like blockchain integrated like thing, and it has an idea behind it that I was like, hey, it's cool to see people build this out. I think the same developer did something similar for like a music platform where you have like the world map, and you can like see different musics that are being like placed
That
like
seems
from
cooler to
different
me
parts of the world.
than this.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was way
Make
cooler,
that on
especially like I
wax.
said.
I'll vote on some music.
I think that is it's. I think that still is on wax. Um, I'm not 100% sure what the name of it is, but I do remember seeing that, and I know that this is like an iteration of that, like that he built that thing first and then like evolved it into this, and I believe that there's plans for him to do like other things eventually, like maybe building some kind of like games or stuff with this kind of like this tech that I guess if you want to call this like this kind of like it being the blueprint for something to come, I think is the goal of. I like half paid attention to the Nefty show in the background
Thing I'd say about
when
this
he was
is
on.
it seems like it has a stiff expiration date, so I don't know if I'd want to be
Yeah,
in any of the wax Harris, wax Trump pools come November 6th or whenever the election is. Like after that, like does this all just become useless? So like I'd be weary of that
right.
if you are. And
Especially given the date left, like they're all going for like the full year. The distribution is so like after January 6th, I think the election is complete. So it's like, do you continue then to vote, or
isn't
like
it
is there
November?
a demand? Oh yeah, November. Yeah, January 6th, I guess, is like certified or whatever. Or
January 6th is when people fucking raided the White
that's just
House.
the yeah, that's just the insurrection day, I guess. So
Also,
yeah,
Rock Metal's calling you
in
out.
November though.
Said
Oh,
for
okay.
lol from the OC and not say from the show called 90210 with the zip code in the name, which I also believe is
Oh,
a show about moving to Beverly Hills, not the OC. I don't think you're even right in the
oh,
area that it is. I think it's
man.
Beverly
Oh,
Hills.
90210, I think is Beverly Hills. Yeah. Okay. Well, shut up. I don't know my zip codes. You got me. Um, but I don't know. I do like this conceptually. It's fun. Like I wish the vote, like when I look at California, for example, I feel like it would be more fun to me to see like this map actually like color coded based on what is being voted on chain versus what the actual election data was last time around. Um, I'm a lot less like excited by election stuff, especially because it's like in my opinion, like it's kind of like not fun at the moment. It's like
I
like it's
think
pretty
a
fucked up.
cooler a cooler version would be like less like DeFi and staking shit, which doesn't really make sense to me, and just like you lock wax into a smart contract and like
Mhm.
whoever you vote for, if they win, you get the wax from the other people's smart contract or something. Like make it almost like a
Oh,
betting
like
thing. That I
yeah,
think would be cooler than like the DeFi thing. Honestly, makes no sense to me. Where it's like you're earning tokens and you sell them to vote. Like or not even. What does the
right.
voting do here? Are you burning them? Like I don't.
I think when you vote, you burn your tokens, but when you sell them, you basically dump the value of them on the other person's side, which makes it cheaper for them to buy votes. So the idea is like the side that's doing more burning on voting should have a higher token price and a higher number of votes, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I was just playing with this for fun. It's something that's being actively like, built out and is actively like being promoted by the person creating it. Beyond that, I'm not sure I would like endorse it as much as
Yeah, I
I
mean,
already have.
I think farming it to sell, which is probably what you're doing more
Mhm.
than trying to vote for the president, is probably the smart move. But
Yeah,
like the whole thing doesn't really make sense outside of like it being a DeFi thing for fun. But I don't know. I do think like
yeah.
prediction market is actually like a cool idea on Wax, and
Prediction
I would
marks is a great
if I
idea.
could win some Wax from betting on that stuff, I would. Also, like
Yeah,
sports would be cool. Like you could
sports betting.
you could have like
Yeah,
32 for the NFL teams, like which team's going to win the Super Bowl, and everybody locks in their thing, and then like the 31 teams that lose all funnel money into the winning team. Like I don't know, that'd be sick.
yeah. That'd be dope, and especially like the platform take like a 2 or 3% or whatever of all of it, and like continue to operate that way. That seems like a viable model. This I think it's a fun like experiment. I think is what like it seems like there's an experimental like approach being done here. I do like the fact that, like I said, the XPX token, which I have to use if I want to participate in earning these other tokens, is not the token that's also being distributed to these farms. So there isn't like a crazy devaluation. So if I were to like throw some XPX and Brawl into a pool, I can expect the performance of this pool to be relatively close to a Wax Brawl pool as far as my risk profile. Obviously, it's more risky than that because the XPX token is owned by a private person who could potentially just be like, oh, I'm giving up on this experiment and just dump it all on everybody. Not saying that they will. It's just that there is a non-zero chance something like that can happen. That can also happen with FTW token and any other token that has, a creator behind it that still owns keys to those platforms. I also don't plan to do that to people who fuck with the FTW token, but just know that when you do fuck with those tokens, part of the reason why, you can get 120% APR from something like this is because you're willing to accept a little bit more risk than, just holding Wax and Brawl, where it probably won't push quite as high of an APR. But I have been messing with that a little bit. It's kind of fun to me.
I would
And
I would
like I
say
said,
that's like a novelty token for
yeah,
fun, because like the best case
similar to like
scenario
FTW or whatever.
is you're burning the thing you're earning. So like it isn't really
Yeah.
set up to earn, because if you're actually participating, you're not earning. You're doing nothing but burning the shit.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. And then in that sense, I do like that the token that I'm earning on isn't tied to the like devaluation asset. So in that case, it's like, cool, I could participate this, only ever burn shit, not try to like earn anything from it, and the exposure I have isn't absurd. Like, I could do XPX and Wax and then expect the value of that pool to stay relatively close to the value of the Wax I started with. Assuming everything holds the way it should, like the soft peg mechanism holds, which is also pretty experimental. And again, you could watch the Nefty Show replay to see
Why would
what the
people not
creator
sell
business
it like
is doing.
when the election's going to be over?
Yeah, so that's that, and the fact that it's also like it is. If we look at again farms, the liquidity base of it, XPX, is split not just on Wax. So you have Wax, and then it's also paired with Purple, with Woof, with Wombat, with the Marta token, XPJ, TLM, and Brawl, Nefty, and TMG. So there are quite a few of these. It looks like TMG maybe wasn't part of the original, since it's not getting Trump or Harris rewards. It's getting TMG rewards. So this might be the TMG creator putting that one up there. But either way, like I'm saying, is the liquidity is exposed to all of these other tokens. So if, for example, Wombat, takes a huge shit, then the XPX in this pool is exposed to that huge shit, which is true the other way around too. If any of these tokens pump, then hey, XPX might see some price appreciation.
I would imagine
So
all of those tokens would sell their XPJ into that token or XPX once the election happens, because that project seems to have like a 2-month expiration date.
Right, that's kind of what I think too. But I am willing to play with it, roll the dice, and do the experiment along with the creator here. And again, I don't know that it's like worth any like it's worth like participating in to like try to earn or whatever, but it is, in my opinion, worth participating in anything that's being actively developed on Wax, even if it is like, oh, how can we use Web3 token assets to create some like kind of whatever nonsense.
Yeah, I think I'd consider it more of a fun thing than an investment. Like, I wouldn't put serious money into this, but if you think it's fun to like participate in new things on the blockchain, then like maybe you want to throw a couple bucks at it and vote for your presidential candidate and dump the token of the person you don't like and see what happens.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I did. And then since I did that for the first like week or so, I was like doing the voting, and I voted a couple times like in Washington, a couple times in Michigan, and a couple times in California, because those are places I actually lived. And then after I did that for a while, I was like, okay, now I feel like I've voted. So since then, I've been kind of like just selling everything and watching the trajectory of it all. But either way, that's what that is. Let's go back to what else is in my.
It will be interesting to see like the results versus the actual election results. Like,
yeah, right.
It's also,
I'm curious too, especially because
like
it's not like one person, one vote. It's one wax or $1 or whatever, one vote. So one person could show up, drop like $100 and sway the vote like
also what
drastically
like,
one way or
how
another.
much research are they doing to like how much of it is nonsense that when you type in a zip code, are they actually going to be doing like the like electoral college
Yeah,
shit correctly, or are they just going to be
I'm
like, there's
curious
this
about
many
that
votes
too.
on each state? I sort of felt like it's going to be the latter, and that's just for fun to type it in. But
Yeah,
if they actually have
right?
tracking per thing, that's like pretty complex programming for such a nonsense project.
Right, and that's kind of what it sounds like. It sounds like he's building out like he has an idea for like some kind of like tech thing, and this is a little bit more complicated than it needs to be for what it is. But it is also like maybe like an incentivized version of a test net of this kind of like concept for him. Uh, so there's actual value on the line, and there's it kind of it's the same with like I could create a token or a thing on testnet for Wax, but that won't necessarily translate to how real people will interact with it on mainnet, because once there's actual value behind something, it's just a different game. So yeah, it could just be like, yeah, it's overcomplicated because this isn't like the end game for it. There's like a potentially like
I'm interested in the
something else
music
being developed
one.
with
If
it.
you can like
Yeah,
vote
let me
on music you
figure
like,
out.
and then it makes it more likely to like show up in people's feeds or something like that. That seems interesting to me. Rock Metal said that
Yeah, I like
Alpha World are supposedly building a prediction market for Wax. Another change, but it's stupid early. We're still
that's
in the
dope.
TG clicker game to build user base stage, though a little more advanced because you occasionally mine live coins like Wolf and Chat as well as airdrop points.
That's dope. What is that one called?
The Alpha.world. I don't know if that's the website. Sounds like it's a Telegram thing primarily at the moment.
The Alpha.world. Mine points to receive airdrops. About
Roadmap, let's see.
prediction market for Web 2, Web 3. Okay. Airdrop and token launch. Q3 2024. So I don't know that hasn't even happened yet, I don't think. Let's see. Testnet launch. The bull run.
I
Q1
like how
2025 is the bull run.
they know
Damn, that's part of
dashboard.
the roadmap. Full on bull run is part of the bull run.
I also like
The
top
roadmap. I
secret
love
on the
that.
roadmap. On the roadmap,
Yeah.
that's like
From
a
2025 to the
question
end of
mark, step
history.
6 profit.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like profit should be after this. Top secret, then profit. But still, I don't know. I'm not. I hate. Honestly, I don't hate on anything that's being built on Wax. I would still fuck with this in the same way that I'm fucking with the X Party stuff, because it's
If they
like,
made a prediction
hey,
market,
if you're building shit on Wax that I can fuck with, even if it isn't like, if it's an imaginary election, I'm doing that. So if it's a real prediction market, bet your ass I'll be betting on like, hopefully Counter Strike majors, but I'll be betting on whatever the fuck they got going. Maybe I'll even try to make myself like in prediction markets on other Web3 platforms. In the past, I have been like cleared as like a person who can basically, what I would do is I would make like who's gonna win this whatever, like a two-person, like let's say it would be like a football game that comes up tomorrow. There's a football game, Seahawks versus the only other football team name I can think of would be like the Patriots. So let's say Seahawks are playing the Patriots tomorrow. I would have been able, like on this platform called like Augur, and I did it on a couple other ones too. But I was able to then go to the sports section, type in like Seahawks versus Patriots tomorrow at this time, like who wins, and then I would put up the initial like, I think the Seahawks are going to win, $50, and then the odds become, based on $50 to nothing. So now you could bet $50 on the Patriots, and you'd have a 1-to-1 odds. And then based on who else jumps into that bet, the odds change in real time. And then the betting I would set, because the game started at a certain time. I always set it so that during halftime, in the like with the time that was planned as halftime for the game, that's when the new bets would stop. So the contract would stop accepting new people like choosing winning or losing, and then the second half of the game, once the game ended, I would basically, because it was my poll, I would then tell the protocol, oh, the Seahawks won or the whatever people won, and then there would be like a 3-hour window or something where anybody who participated in this prediction market could challenge what I said happened. So if actually the Seahawks didn't win, and I said that they did, then people could be like, nope, they didn't. And there's an open source way for people to then like verify and check. And basically, the longer that I operate honestly, the more weight my input has on other people's prediction markets too. It was a really clever thing, and I would love to do shit like that
You
on
should
on
send that
Wax.
to fucking Alpha World and see if they can just copy it, because that sounds fucking
I
dope.
loved that. It was cool as shit. And then I also got 1% of all of the bets that people paid. So when like even if I put $50 up and I ended up losing that bet because the Patriots won, like let's assume that like 100 more people joined in and each one of those people also put $50 bets in. Now the total value was $5,000. I ended up getting $50 back just for having created the poll, which is 1% of 5,000, if that was unclear. But really fucking cool. If they build anything like that on here, I'd be very here for it. And then the coolest part of doing that was that as someone who had like the status to create a prediction on the prediction market, I could create a prediction of anything. It didn't have to be a game. It could literally have been like, what color underwear am I going to wear tomorrow? And I could start a prediction market. Like people probably wouldn't join in on that, but like I could do it. And then you define when you create like a prediction event, you define what the answer is. So what I for like the sport event, I would be like based on this ESPN website who reports who wins. That's how I'm going to decide who the winner is. So I don't care what actually happens in the game. If that website, that ESPN site, doesn't say that this person won, then it didn't win. And so you can basically create prediction markets for fucking anything, and it's really fun.
Rock Metal
like you could
posted a link to the Discord if you want to talk to those Alpha World people.
I am interested in this.
I feel like you're pretty good at explaining shit to people.
It also is all like a lot of this stuff exists as open source software already, and
That's what I'm
has.
saying. If you can link that to the Alpha World people, we might actually see it on Wax.
I'm
let's do a giveaway. Stuff, I feel like we just spent an hour going over what's in your wallet that has nothing to do with the DeFi thing. But
right, I guess the last things I could just fly through these because they're not really important. I have LS Wax Neon, which is literally the LS Wax on this side was donated by the moderator of WaxDAO because they want to create more LS Wax liquidity depth, and so they reached out and were like, "Hey, do you have a Neon LS Wax pool?" And I said, we don't, and we don't like necessarily want to ask our like people who are contributing to the Neon Wax pool. We don't necessarily want them to have to move their liquidity, and we don't own the Neon token contract, and so like recreating the farms that we already have would be a pain. So we probably don't have plans to migrate into that. And then he was like, "Well, if I gave you some LS Wax, like, would you create a farm?" And so he sent me, I think, like 300 or something LS Wax, and then I just put up all the Neon counterpart, and then I also matched it with another 300. So when I ended up making a 600 LS Wax pool here, and this is again one that I'm not going to be touching. This is just so that there exists, an LS Wax and a Wax pool paired with Neon, and so that the LS Wax appreciation will eventually drive some arbitrage opportunities between the Wax and the LS Wax Neon pairs and drive volume. So this is just going to be more liquidity depth for that. I have a WaxDAO LS Wax pool. This is WaxDAO's, the token from WaxDAO. I bought these like when the Wojaks first came out, when Mike first hit the scene, just to support. I still have a shit ton of them, and so I'm still in the farm. Why not? Then we have Wax Neon again, but this one is bilateral. This was just Neon that I have that I don't have Wax to put up as the counterpart. I put this up into the pool. But I also don't stake it. This is also just kind of like I don't sell Neon, but I use it to supply liquidity. Then I have my FTW pools. And the last one I have here is Wax RC. I have no idea what Wax RC is. I put 50 Wax into this, and it's currently 34. So it's currently like 75 Wax already. So it's definitely up in terms of Wax. And the reason I did it at all was that the farm APR was so high. So looking at the staked only section here it's paying 854.
Does it have like more
Wax RC, and it's also gone up a lot since I bought it.
What's the token contract though?
Oh, it is. Let's see. It'll pop up here in a second.
Prince Paradox also asks, "What am I drinking tonight?" I'm drinking a seltzer water that is pink grapefruit flavored.
Oh, let's see. It's WPGames.gm is the contract.
Might be some game token. I don't know.
WRP game, yeah. And it looks like Oh, this is like a really close-up
I
map.
thought it might be like something with the Wax Ape Rave Club because it's like.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I don't think so though, because I think we'd hear about it if they were. They said they were working on like it sounded like they're trying to just copy fucking like the Bored Ape Yacht Club and make their own token and do like distribution and stuff, but
Okay.
they kind of
I don't really hate it. I mean, I
their last
have.
announcement was 3/28/2024. They said, "We appreciate your patience and your unwavering support. Stay tuned, tribe members, for the future adventure continues." But that was
Okay.
5 months ago at this point, so
Well, that's like multiple years in NFT times. But I don't know. I'm holding my wax apes. I'll be here for whatever they do.
I think the farm
If they
still
do end up,
pays you out for all the aftermarket,
yeah,
so it's like. Although I think it's slowed down considerably now that there's no like blends and activities and stuff going on.
I actually bought into this pool like way down here, so I'm still up quite a bit. But I was up, like the LP for this pool, I was at over 100 wax at one point, and like more than double what I started with. Either way, I'm just here for the APR. So I don't know what this is. I just claim it and sell it into FTW every day. And at 800%, I'm willing to let 100 wax ride for something like that. And like I said, I just like to do whatever I can to kind of facilitate value like accumulation in the FTW pools, because I can at least kind of manage and control those to a degree. And it's not it's not that hard to create a token that doesn't dump if you're not the one dumping it. So the only way that like those tokens dump now is if other people dump them, and the only way other people can dump them is if they buy them. So if I'm not dumping them, then it's almost impossible for this shit to dump below what I launched it at, which at this point is already like 40x lower than the current price. So, keep that in mind. You could get dumped on pretty hard still at this point. Yeah, Jesus, 54 times. It's up 5,200% since.
And there is someone
since
that owns like an insane percentage of the supply. So
yeah, somebody owns about 20% of the circulating supply, 10% of the total supply. So that's 100 million tokens. And if they were to suddenly be like, you know what, I'm done with this, 100, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, they could sell that now for 7,000 wax and tank the price 44%, which gives us a rate of 0.0000073, which puts us back down to here. So right around here would be if someone took the 100 million now, it would drop us all the way back to here. Which, whatever. I hope they do it. Like, it gives me a chance to buy back more of the supply, and it makes it even easier to keep pumping it. But for now, that's kind of all I wanted to like do, because I was doing it on stream when we started, which was claiming rewards and selling them into FTW. But that's kind of like a quick overview of my yield farming wallet, which is let's see if I go to pools. It's like $1,000.
Different screen already. We're moving on to Crittercraft.
Let's do it.
Also, I didn't read it earlier because it was getting too off the rails, but Rock Metal said, I've done lots of house sitting where the house had cats and they're fine for a couple of weeks on their own, and just a quick food, water, litter box check by a person looking on the dog/house.
Yeah. That's true. I feel like people make it out to be such a like hassle. Every time I tell someone I'm like, oh, I'm considering like adopting these cats, they're like, oh, that's such a like, it's gonna be so much work. It's gonna be this. And it's like, is it?
Rock Metal also said, sounds like you guys needed some cats like a year ago.
Yeah, I love cats.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
I've had cats
before the cats
forever.
were here. I probably would have been like, I don't know if we should have cats. Just gonna seem like a lot of trouble. Marcy's already a handful, but these cats are just so chill that I was like, I don't know. Especially like 2 cats, I'd have been like maybe 1 cat, but I feel like now that we have these 2 cats, it's like I wouldn't want to separate them. And also like, they're so chill together that I feel like it's just like one extra thing. It's not like two separate entities. It's just like, oh, this is they share a litter box.
It's the cat brothers.
Your food, like you do all the stuff together at the same time with them. As far as like the time you spend, you clean the litter box. That's a one-time activity. When you feed them, you just put it like
It also makes it so that like when they are like trying to play and stuff, and you're just like, leave me alone, they'll be like, all right, I'll go play with my friend.
They're still
like my other kitty will play.
Sleeping together.
Oh, sweeties.
Let's get
How
the.
could you send them away after this? How would you be able to even send them away? They're so cute. Paul texted me like called yesterday and he's like, "Oh, my friend so and so is talking about like was talking to me and he says he might want to adopt them." And I was like, I think they might be mine. I don't know if you can adopt them. I'm not convinced yet though,
That's the
but
other thing is they're
oh
just
man.
such good cats. Like,
Yeah.
if you do want a cat, I don't think you're ever gonna get like a
You're not
better
gonna get a better cat than this.
pair
Yeah.
of cats than this.
Uh, he's like burying his head in this guy's belly.
There's so many like friends have cats that are like standoffish, kind of dicks, like seem like they don't want to be around you the entire time, and these cats are like the opposite.
They
And also
love you.
immediately, it's not like months of
Yeah.
bonding. Like they
No, immediately they love me.
they they come when I call too. I'll be like, if I'm trying to get them out of my room, I'll be like, hey, like come, and they run. Or like if I'm in my room in their hallway and like tap the bed like you would for a dog, then they jump up to it. Like they
Yeah.
freaking
I
come
noticed
when
that
you
too.
call.
Like
Like
they come when you call, they want to be near you. Prince Paradox says get a dog. I have a dog.
we have a dog.
She's right here.
Mercy's honestly way more
Ooh,
maintenance than
hello.
either like these cats combined
Look
too.
at this
Like
little dog.
Marcy by herself is like 2 times the maintenance of both of these cats.
Oh yeah, easily.
Marcy's a
Look at this little
diva.
baby. She's a total little baby. She's also like she's 10 years old now. She loves having kitties around. She's like she wants to play with them, but they don't really get they get a little worried when she gets too excited.
I think they'll end up playing
But
eventually. I think 'cause they're already so much more comfortable with her than they were the first day. Like now they'll walk by her,
yeah,
like walk on top of her, and not worry about it. They just get
yeah.
freaked out when she
She was
starts.
she was on the couch with me like she is right now, and the other cat like came up and jumped just to like cuddle on my belly and is like, "Oh wow, Marcy's sitting right here." And then like they would just like smell her and they're totally chill. See, 1 year old. Yeah, Marcy's like 10 years old now. The cats, that's like a big difference in age, but it's also like, I don't know. Marcy can probably get 20 years old. She's a little
Marcy was
dog.
also raised around
Yeah.
Ramon, so I feel like she's actually more comfortable with
Yeah.
cats than she is dogs. Like
Yeah. She likes cats.
I feel like her
So
and
she's more,
Penny got along less well than the cats do.
yeah, she just kind of like, I feel like she sees other dogs as like competition more than she sees cats as competition. Like with other dogs, she's like, yeah, she's like, I don't know. Like, whatever. I don't know. Like, I got to go defend my food bowl. I got to make sure that like these other dogs don't sleep in spots that are my spots. But with cats, she's just kind of like, I want to play.
Marcy's also more cat-like than most dogs. Like the other day, I
Yeah,
saw her, she was sitting like on the top of the couch, just perched up. I feel like most dogs would
yeah,
never sit up there; they just lie on the couch. But because like she was raised by Ramon, practically, like she sits where like how the cats sit, where the cats sit.
yeah,
The cat-like
yeah. She
dog.
does. She also does that like when she jumps on or off the couch. She does it like on the armrest versus like the lower seating pad part, just like a cat would. But that's also I think yeah because she grew up with the cats and kind of like followed the cat's behaviors back when she was still a puppy too.
All right, here's this giveaway. We'll give away 1,000,000 woof to the winner.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I know what a
Although
Dobby. Dobby's a type of dog.
it makes me think of the house elf from
From-
yeah Harry Potter.
Dash.
Dobby.
Dash is like a dash hound, right? Like I've heard of that type of dog.
Yeah.
Doberman. Okay.
So like a huge dog.
I'm gonna have to look at
Those
pictures
dogs-
afterwards.
I think those also like I love big dogs, but like big dogs don't live very long. Like I said, Marcy's 10 years old. Most big dogs are like old when they're 10 years old. Like Marcy still like runs around and like is still very like young energy. Although she's getting older now. I don't know. I really like these cats.
Same. They've been keeping me entertained late at night. 'Cause Marcy goes to sleep with you guys, and now I got cats to hang out with
Yeah.
at night. And they go fucking
Yeah.
wild at night. They're like wrestling and jumping in bags, and like they're doing cool
Yeah,
stuff.
they love the bags.
Penny
It's making
bags.
noise.
Speaking of bags, won the
Oh, they'd love you.
1,000,000 woof, and then we'll give second and third place some woof as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down to watch the cats whenever you guys go. I'm not even sure what my Christmas plans are this year. I got to hit up my parents. Like, last year we went to New
Yeah, I
York. I
mean,
don't know if they're going to be traveling and
I
stuff or if they'll be back in
I know we're
Washington.
traveling for Christmas. Yes, and then there's a New York trip for Paul's thing, which is like a weekish, and then I know at some point in the next month or two, Paul's aunt, like Paul's mom's sister, is visiting from Mexico for like the first time in like 30 years or something. So she's going to be visiting Paul's mom for like the first time in a long time, and
I think go up to
I'm
Seattle for
I'm
that.
pitching. Yeah, I was like, we should be there. Like, why the fuck wouldn't you want to be there? Like, so we'll probably go visit for like probably a short visit too, less than a week, I imagine. But that one, the New York and that one is like one where Marcy's probably not coming. Um, but I feel like also if I don't know if like the cats are around, I feel like she'd probably get over being like lonely and shitty faster. It
Honestly,
seems like.
Marcy is more of a pain to watch when you guys are gone than these cats. These cats are
Yeah.
chill as fuck.
Also seems like when Marcy's alone and she gets upset and like is crying and stuff, the cats like come over and like check on her. Like they're like, "What's she doing?" And that kind of like distracts her from being sad and crying, which is nice. Also, when she's sad and crying, I don't think she's as intimidating to the cats, and the cats are much more inclined to be like, "Let's get close here." But yeah, I'm I feel like if I push for it, Paul is on board too. Paul loves cats.
These cats are just fucking the homies.
And that's the main thing I keep thinking is like, if we're gonna get cats at some point, like you're not gonna do better than this.
Look at him.
Like, yeah, there's no, yeah, you're not gonna get a better pair of cats. Like,
I was pretty like blown away by
I
how
was
cool these cats are.
part of why I wanted to foster them was like to give me that like, oh man, this is a handful, this sucks, and I'm not missing out by not adopting them, but it's like having the opposite effect.
When you said we were gonna
It's
watch
like,
two
man, this is
cats, it's just like that seems like a bad idea. Like it's because we
yeah,
fucking nonstop fighting with Marcy, and then like cats like getting
it's a
scared and
hundred.
pissing on shit, and they're just like that's not been the fucking.
I like half expected that to happen too, like more than half. And now that's not happening. It's like fuck, like there's no real reason to say no to these cats. Like I thought they were gonna be a handful. They're not. I thought they were gonna like, be more crazy and more like animosity towards Marcy. They're not.
They're a fun
Like I
amount of
thought that.
crazy. Like the craziness is fun to
Yeah.
watch them wrestle and play with stuff.
I also feel like it's so easy. It would not be that hard to get someone to watch them because they don't hate people. Like you can be like, hey, come over and meet my cat, and like
You
the
also
cat will
don't
like come
need them to
cuddle you.
like. You can check on them like once a day, once every other day. Whereas like Marcy, you
Yeah.
need someone to be with. Like Marcy can't be alone.
Yeah.
Like she
She
needs to
needs to
be with
walk like
someone.
twice a day minimum, and if you're leaving her alone for the time in between walks, she will like have like a fucking panic attack.
Yeah. So I mean, like
Yeah,
the ask of people watching the cat compared to watching Marcy is like a very different.
yeah, and that's what some people are like. Oh, it's gonna be such a hassle. It's like it already is. Like it's a bigger hassle already to have Marcy. So like, is it really? Am I adding a hassle? Like not really. Like I already have a huge hassle, like having to like
I feel like
take
also
care
for
of the
like
dog.
if you can bring Marcy with you to Seattle and then ask someone to watch the cat, that's like not
Yeah,
that hard to fucking do for like Christmas and
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and that was like something the friend was saying. He's like, "Oh, you already bring Marcy with you when you travel some places. Now you'll have to bring the cats." Is like, "What? No, you won't. Like, I won't fucking travel with the cats. That's insane." Like, but this person also never had cats, so
I also
they
feel like Paul
like,
has like
yeah,
huge network of people in comedy that like him
yeah,
and would do favors for him. So like
right.
pretty easy
It's
to
also like
find.
I don't know. Paul's landing some pretty fucking awesome jobs lately too. So it's like
You could all just pay
the
someone.
biggest hurdle. Yeah, exactly. The biggest hurdle with like if you can't find someone is like was money, and so if you're making good money, then you could just board the cats or like pay like a service to do it, and that's
We could
totally
fucking start a cat cafe and make people
doable.
pay us. These cats are so dope.
Yeah, right. These cat people would want to like come and pay extra for a coffee to drink it with our cats.
You can come hang out, use our
Well,
VR headset, and play with the cats.
what we really need to do is get cat stickers made of them in the cat sticker collection.
Oh
Now that
yeah.
we actually have some cats,
I was thinking we could make Neon
and
Space like how Paul did his
right.
painting of Ramon and shit. Like
Oh my god,
we should have like a Marcy and
we should
some.
have a Marcy and a Ramon.
And
a
Marcy
little
Ramone, and then we could
Ramon with the
also, if we get the 2 new cats,
and
add
then
them to the thing, make a full
I
set
also
of the
think
neon animals.
if we adopt these cats, though, I would want to name them. I'm not the biggest fan of Gaspar and Pierre, although
I like Pierre.
it is growing on me. Pierre's growing on me a lot more. I call him Jean
Gaspar, I don't
Pierre all
really
the
like.
time.
Gas even
Gaspar,
sounds
I'm like,
weird when I'm
nah.
calling him Gas. I've called
Yeah,
him
same.
Gus a few times on accident, and I feel like I like Gus better than Gas.
Gus is better. Yeah,
Gus is a funny cat name.
Gas Gaspar. At first, I thought it was Gaston too, which I like better than Gaspar.
I
But
also
either
like that better.
way, Rock Metal 24/7 cat cam stream. Yeah, maybe that'll be enough to just like the cats can do their own 24-hour stream, and then their subscribers can pay for their boarding whenever we're not in town.
There's my mirror.
Oh my kitties!
Pierre tries to like fight the mirror. He'll run right at it and smack it. Like I don't know if he understands how mirrors work. He's kind of
Yeah,
dumb.
he does that in my hallway too. I have a mirror, and he like wants to fight himself.
That cat's crazy too. Like
Well,
he tried to get in the shower while I was showering today.
yeah, he does that for me too. He doesn't mind the water. I don't know.
And then he
Like I
watched me
said,
from
they're
the
like
toilet. He was like on the toilet just watching
yeah,
me shower. I was like, "What up, bud?"
yeah, like you said, they're fun. They're like a fun type of crazy.
I don't know. I feel like Gas is like the obvious. Like he's the cuter one. Like he's way more affectionate. He'll sit in your lap and stuff. So I feel like he's the immediate. Like everyone's gonna like Gas more immediately. But Pierre's been growing on me. Like Pierre's just such like an oddball. Like he's a weird, quirky cat, and I like that about him. Where he's like just doing weird stuff. He tries to get in the sink while I'm doing dishes. Like he like will be like
Yeah,
trying to step in after like hold him back, and like we get like paw tracks all over our counters because he'll jump in the sink after we're not in there and then get wet, and then you can see where he's walking around. But he's like a little
yeah,
quirky guy. I mean, I feel like he's still affectionate, but like less immediately. Like he kind of like needs to get a little more comfortable and like come to you, whereas like
yeah,
Gas, like if you enter a room and he's seeing you for the first time, he'll run up to you and meow until you pick him up, and then like immediately start
yeah,
purring and like
yeah.
he'll like jump on your leg and grab it and be like pet me, pet me. And Pierre's not so needy, but Pierre I feel like still is affectionate. I like him,
Yeah, he loves being pet still. They both very much are like
and they both
affection
like being
love,
held, like being picked up and cradled,
right?
which took me like months to be able to do that with Ramon. Like he hated it for a long, long time,
He
and then
hated it. And even once he got into it, it was like you could do it for like a few minutes, and then he'd be like, "That's enough."
I feel like I could hold
Yeah.
Ramon for towards the end pretty indefinitely. But
After a while, it was like pretty much he was into it. He like liked it too.
he also started trusting me a lot more because I mean Ramon didn't like people at all for a long time. Like he was very standoffish all the time, and he was kind of like, "I'll hang out on the other side of the room as you, and I'll be around you, but I don't ever really want to cuddle or like be near you directly." He doesn't want to be within like pet's reach. He's like, "Don't fucking touch or bother me." And then after I
Yeah.
held him like every day for months, then he started like sitting in my lap and like he'd wait for me. Like sleep with my door shut, and every day when I open my door, he'd be sitting outside the door waiting for me, and then follow me into the bathroom for my morning shit. It was our
Yep.
routine, Ramon
Yep.
and I.
They definitely. I feel like I don't know. I'm I'm still like not 100% convinced, but man, I'm closer to the like let's keep them side of the fence these days. I feel like every day that goes by, it's getting harder to be like let's give them back when the foster parents come back from their trip.
I definitely think like
But yeah,
if you want to get a cat, like you're like, oh, like we'll
this
get
is
another
the,
cat later. It's like you're
this is
missing
the fucking cat.
the prime
Yeah.
opportunity to get 2 perfect cats right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I also feel like that was it with Marcy too. She was like on day one, she was like very sweet, very like not super like barky and crazy, and like I feel like that predisposition like it shouldn't be like it counts for a lot. I think like it's a good glimpse of like what these cats are like personality wise.
It's
And
also like
like
it's a long
you're
commitment.
not
So if
gonna,
you get a cat that like ends up being
yeah,
kind of a dick, then
exactly.
you're just dealing with a dick cat for like 15 years.
Yeah, I've had cats like that too, where it's like they'll like one person, but like they're not kind of a dick to everyone else, and that's not as fun. But yeah, I'm definitely like
I also feel like
coming around
cats
pretty
more than
quickly.
dogs are way like harder to find ones that are that affectionate. Like a lot of
Yeah,
cats are just like not into people in general, and these cats are like
yeah.
both just love people, which is nice.
Also, the like affinity for strangers blows my mind. Like the fact that like on day one, I was able to pick him up, like hold him like a baby and pet his belly, and he's just like purring and being like, "Yes, this is what I want." It's like, Jesus Christ, dude! Not
Gaspar's
even
a
at a
little
shelter.
stud. Gas is like the friendliest
Yeah.
cat. He kind of reminds me of
Yeah.
Carlos. He's like a dog inside of a
He's
cat.
so fucking sweet. I'm definitely, yeah, I'm very close to texting them like, yeah, stay away. We're keeping these cats. Let's see. Oh, I see you pulled up the OpenSea got Wells notice from
Yeah, let
SEC
me read
recently.
this for any audio viewers, audio listeners. I guess you're not viewing with audio, but this is posted by D Finzer on Twitter. He says, OpenSea has received a Wells notice from the SEC threatening to sue us because they believe NFTs on our platform are securities. We're shocked the SEC would make such a sweeping move against creators and artists, but we're ready to stand up and fight. Cryptocurrencies have long been in the crosshairs of the SEC, and companies like Coinbase, Uniswap, Robinhood app, Kraken, and Consensus have been fighting against the SEC's single-track approach of regulation by enforcement. But this is a move into uncharted territory. By targeting NFTs, the SEC would stifle innovation on an even broader scale. Hundreds of thousands of online artists and creatives are at risk, and many do not have the resources to defend themselves. NFTs are fundamentally creative goods, art, collectible video game items, domain names, event tickets, and more.
Yep.
Oh, and he has
There's
a article.
Yeah, there's a whole lot like to. I read a bunch of this already. It's
Who is Devin Finzer? Is he does he work for OpenSea? He's the co-founder and chief executive officer of OpenSea.
Yeah, they also in this article, the OpenSea also offered $5 million to any creator who's being sued personally by the SEC. They're well up to like as a fund, not you get 5 million to be like you get a share of 5 million to help cover legal fees. But near the bottom, they say something really like in a statement to the SEC. I really thought was if you take the Stoner Cats aspect of this out, because I do think Stoner Cats made a few like choice errors by promising like buyback and profit on the front end, which is kind of questionable. But they do say something, and I read this part. I really like this part. It says, while updated for the digital age, the Stoner Cats NFTs are not. So if you replace the Stoner Cats NFTs here with like most art NFTs, right?
Also,
Are not.
I don't think everybody knows what Stoner Cats is. Stoner Cats is like they're characters in a TV show, right?
Yeah,
and you buy the NFTs, and then they end up being like on a TV show made by like pretty prominent Hollywood people, not just like a fly-by-night random
like
NFT creators.
Is like one of the creators and voices of the show. I think what his name Ashton Kutcher is involved with that project, or was to a degree. But either way, what they say about if you're unfamiliar, Stoner Cats is basically an NFT project. So it's like while updated for the digital age, the Stoner Cats NFTs are not that different from Star Wars collectibles sold in 1970s. On the heels of a very successful release of the Star Wars movie in 1977, fans' excitement was high. To the delight of millions of children that holiday season, a toy company named Kern sold, quote, early bird certificate packages that were redeemable for future Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and R2-D2 action figures, and membership in a Star Wars fan club. The sale of these certificates helped to build a die-hard community of Star Wars fans. Would those IOU certificates, which could be resold, constitute investment contracts? Using the analysis of today's enforcement actions, the SEC should have parachuted in to save those kids from Star Wars mania. I 100% agree with that assessment. It's like they're now saying, oh, NFTs are this thing, when it's like, well, that's okay. You're allowed to sell collectibles. You're allowed to sell vouchers. You're allowed to do all that stuff. It's not a security. So just because it's a digital like commodity, I suppose, and there's money involved, doesn't also automatically make it a security. And it's going to be interesting to see, actual big players with a legal fund budget go up to bat here for, because we as creators of NFTs and artists, if we were to get sued by the SEC, that's game over. Like, we're not going to come up against that. We don't have money. But these people do. And so they're going to be running these, these legal precedent setting cases now. And I'll be interested to see how this plays out. because it definitely like affects what we do in our space too. You know, if they do decide that, oh yeah, any NFT sold on, you know, on OpenSea is a security because it's being sold on a public marketplace, that has implications that reach way beyond OpenSea, and you know, directly affect us as creators and a lot of people out here who maybe are using a new medium like the digital medium to reach an audience, and they're just selling signed digital prints, like the equivalent of selling a signed piece of artwork at a farmer's market.
I mean,
But
I've said it for a long time that like cryptocurrency can't be treated as a blanket. Like everything
yeah,
is an
exactly.
investment, everything's a security. Like it can be video game items, and as they said, like Ticketmaster can make concert tickets where it's like this is your official
Yeah,
tickets. Like, or concert tickets now securities. Like there have to be different
right.
categories of like this stuff, and they can't just all be under one blanket where it's like this is all investment, this is all security. Like I think
Yeah,
they need
exactly.
to like have clear rules of what you can and can't do to be in each category, but they have to make different categories, and you can't just be like
Yeah.
blanket.
And they're failing hard when it comes to defining for the people who want to participate in these innovative technology market like stuff. If people want to participate and innovate, there needs to be clear guidelines, and that's what the SEC's job is, not to like go around and like, you know, try to enforce things that they're loosely interpreting as securities that aren't fucking securities. Like that's not their job, isn't to define a security. Their job is to define what is a security within a framework that exists, not like, oh, if you're using crypto, you're using securities. That's not how securities work. That's not what crypto is. That's basically like, that'd be like saying, oh, if you're, you know, sending emails, then you're, you know, sending this specific type of communication, which is like, I don't know, emails can be spam, emails can be bullshit, emails can be a note that I sent to myself. Like it doesn't, just because I'm using email doesn't mean I'm communicating with somebody, you know, in a specific way. And so blanket categorizing a technology like email is just as stupid as blanket categorizing a technology like non-fungible tokens or crypto Web3 assets as securities. 100% they can be securities, but just because they are NFTs doesn't default them into being securities. And I'm personally like, and I feel like a lot of people who've been in this space for a long time, I'm pretty fucking tired of the SEC just like swinging and trying to like enforce, you know, this nonsense when this, for literally a decade now, they haven't clearly defined what is and isn't allowed. Instead, they just came out and like, none of this is allowed. It's like, excuse me, we've been asking for years, and you know, like you failed to set framework here, and it's not a crime to like not understand a non-existent framework. So I'm really excited to see, you know, this get put to a stop. Like it's
I feel like if
absurd to me.
Ripple wasn't considered a security, like there's no way they can blanket
Yeah, how the
all
fuck
NFTs
are
as
yeah.
securities.
Yeah, if Ripple wasn't a security, then how in the fuck is like Stoner Cats? Yeah, I 100% agree, and I think it's, yeah. I mean, the whole thing, it really comes back to like, if it is a security, then definitely so were those vouchers sold for those toys, you know, and so is a like, so are potentially like baseball cards and physical collectibles, because there's not enough of a distinction between what the SEC is going after here and just regular baseball cards. Like, what's the distinction? That one is digital. So if that's like, that's not enough to distinct, like securities aren't digital exclusive. So if you were going to like enforce this shit as security fraud, then I would be worried to be in the art space, the collector space, in any of this stuff, because it's very concerning to have like a regulatory body just blanket banning stuff like this. So I'm happy to see, you know, like something as big as OpenSea go up to bat here to like stand up against it. I also know obviously Uniswap is also like, fuck you. You know, like we know we're like, they're basically, their comment is like, we're confident that we're not committing security fraud, and we're willing to like take it to court to lay it out for you. And I mean, a Wells. I guess I should also backtrack a little bit here. A Wells notice is just a notice that the SEC is considering taking action. they haven't taken any action at all yet. So it literally is just like, oh, we might take action against you. Like, be warned that you're on our radar is more or less what this article is saying, or what the tweet was saying happened. But even that is like too much. Like, you can't just like warn people you're going to sue them when those people aren't committing any sort of security fraud. And so hopefully, hopefully
I do think
big businesses
there's
put up a
gray
fight.
areas. Like there are people doing NFT shit that's absolutely securities, in my opinion. But like that's why there just needs to be
Yeah.
like clearly defined things of what you can and can't do, which is again what you said. People have been asking for a long time. It's like we want to run a business that's legally operating in all good, but like they haven't defined what you can and can't. And at this point, like if they're trying to sue OpenSea, it's like all NFTs are securities. Like what is that bullshit? But I don't
Yeah.
know. I want to read
It's,
this whole
the-
article, but Rock
Yeah,
Metal
yeah.
said, "What does the SEC even get out of all this sort of stuff? If they did win, how does it become worth their time and worth everyone hating them?"
Good question. I feel like overwhelmingly the SEC is a branch of like, the government, and the government wants more than anything control. Like, that's the model of government in general. And you can't really control the Web3 assets to the degree that you can control like traditional assets. And that is like, without them saying it directly, that's the fucking problem. Like, the problem is that people are able to transact with assets that can be represented as value, and that value representation and that market of value transactions happens outside of the control or the regulatory authority of the government. And that's bad. That's bad. Like, oh, that needs to be framed as bad. People need to think this is bad. And so overwhelmingly, I think what the SEC gets out of calling any NFT a security, or going after any sort of Web3 or crypto thing so aggressively, is the public perception that crypto, NFTs, and all this stuff are, scams, securities, or at the very least, not regulated to a point where it's safe enough for the average person to participate in them. And so, while long term, I don't think this shit holds any water at all, short term, I think there is a value that you win as, as a government body who can retain legitimacy over their regulated markets while delegitimizing unregulated markets by basically being like, these markets, because they're unregulated, are fraud, is more or less like the A to C thought process in all of these accusations, which is fucked up. Yeah, I hadn't considered. He says, "Oh, I hadn't considered that, but that makes a lot more sense." Yeah, that's what I've always thought it was. Whenever I see any kind of like government stuff going after it, all this crypto, and they always do it so like grandstandy, where they're like, "Oh, like let me make big news, like big sweeping declarations about all this stuff." And in reality, the value moving through the entire crypto sector is less than how much money was wiped off after Nvidia's earning call today on the stock, like on just one company's stock. But people will make these huge moves about crypto because the stock market is already regulated and the crypto market is not, and it's definitely a threat to ruling sovereign governments to lose a grasp on their markets, to have their people be able to transact internationally and on a publicly accessible ledger system. That's not great. Like, what they want is for you to make a bank account and use your social security number to sign up for an exchange where they can then report on you to report what you owe in taxes, where they can then allow you to buy and sell certain assets and bar you from participating in other markets. That's what the governments want at the root of it all, without trying to without going too into like this whole the government's out to get you and stuff. Like, at the end of the day,
We're going full libertarian here at Neon Space.
Yeah, without getting too into that, I think the governments do want to maintain status quo, and status quo is control and regulation over existing markets. And it's terrifying to see an international platform for exchange that cannot be stopped or regulated by by a government. And so then the government is coming in and swinging extremely hard to try to get that control. And, they look like a bunch of idiots trying to do it. Because at the end of the day, you're just going to drive innovation out of your jurisdiction because this is an international network. This isn't happening in the United States. Like, I very much doubt OpenSea is even headquartered in the US. And if they were, I could see them just leaving the US if this, blew up. But, that isn't to say that it isn't like worth following. I think it's definitely worth keeping our eye on this and seeing what they do. I think
Honestly,
ultimately
wouldn't
the SEC is
mind
going to fuck off.
an actual lawsuit and then OpenSea winning, which I think they would, because then it sets legal precedent. And I feel like that's the problem right now. There is no legal precedent. So like, I kind of like the Ripple thing was good for crypto in my opinion, even though it was like a several year drawn out thing. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of like, it's like, okay, well, if that wasn't a security, then all this other stuff we're doing probably is not securities either, which I think is nice to have that sort of definition and legal precedent. So,
Yeah.
although I think
That's
it's
all we
bullshit
want.
that they would sue, like, I think this could end up being good for
Yeah.
NFTs, even though, like, at surface level, it seems like bad that they're trying to say everything's a fucking security.
Yeah, and I think that they're just doing that because one, they don't understand, and two, it's an approach that shifts public opinion in a way that is beneficial to the status quo. If everybody thinks all NFTs are bullshit and are unregulated securities and should be stayed away from, then you have a lot less people in your jurisdiction participating in a market you can't control. That's a win, even if you lose the legal case. But, we'll see how it plays out. It's not abnormal, I think. It's not like a surprise to see the SEC swinging at like shit like this. I honestly thought it was way more surprising to see them go after Uniswap. Like, I mean, Uniswap, what do? They publish open source code and that's it. They don't, like, I guess they have a token at this point too, but like, they didn't do an IPO for it. They didn't sell the token. It was airdropped to people who were active on Ethereum at the time of the airdrop. And beyond that, there isn't like an offering to buy it. So then what's the security? There wasn't a security offer. There wasn't I don't know. So we'll have to see. It definitely affects everybody on Wax too. So however this plays out is going to be it's going to be interesting. And, we'll definitely keep our eye on it.
I have a drink update for Prince Paradox. I'm now drinking a LaCroix key lime sparkling water.
Nice.
This flavor actually kind of fucks. Like, LaCroix, I think, is like one of the worst sparkling water brands in general. But this one, I go out of my way to get the key lime. When you told me you like this one, I was like, I had previously bought the lime one. The lime one's pretty fucking gross, but the key lime is like,
the key lime's pretty good.
It tastes like Sprite without sugar. Like, it's good.
Yeah. Drink update.
Also,
Nice.
I feel like Max and I are morphing into the same person. Like, we're both wearing blue V-neck shirts. We got our beards. We'll see. Should I put my glasses on so we become like same style?
Oh my. Yeah, I need to get a haircut too. My hair is getting out of hand. Out of hand. Let's see. Have you tried?
Here we go.
Limoncello. Paul hates that one. I don't hate that one.
Let's see if I can get a shirt that's more your color too.
It does. It does taste very much like lemon. Lemon. I like the limoncello one, but I think key lime is better.
Well, there's like a passion fruit one. That one's pretty good too.
Oh, I like that too. Passion fruit, anything.
But Waterloo and Polar are the two best brands in my opinion. The shirt's a little too blue. I don't have the light blue that you have.
Yeah, mine's like that'll be like the shirt if you spend like the next like week in the sun.
There, I got my glasses on. Now we're twinning.
Oh shit, that's dope.
I have a smaller head than you though, so my like glasses look like bigger on my face.
Rockmel says the other one was closer. Yeah, maybe.
All right, we'll go back. We'll go back.
Nice. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Interesting to see the SEC continue their kind of like crusade against the Web3.
All right, let me
Yeah, I
read.
think that
I
one
want
was
to see like
better.
the full article. How long is
Yeah.
this?
I thought it was a pretty
Not
good read.
that
It's
long.
not that long.
All right. Published August 28th, 2024. This is hot off
Finger on the
the
pulse,
hot
baby.
off the
This is
press.
today.
OpenSea recently received a Wells notice from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. This notice indicates that the SEC is considering bringing a lawsuit against OpenSea. Also, what a weird yeah, we're thinking about suing you instead of actually suing you. Like, just fucking
Yeah.
like shut up or sue me. Like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah.
For those who haven't been closely following recent SEC moves, your reaction may be one of surprise. What do NFTs, collectibles, digital art, game items, and event tickets, among other uses, possibly have to do with securities law? But for those of you who have been following the political and regulatory landscape around crypto more closely, the reaction is more one of weariness and disappointment. Cryptocurrencies have long been in the crosshairs of the SEC, but by targeting NFTs, the SEC is diving into new uncharted waters with potentially harmful consequences for consumers, creators, and entrepreneurs alike. I agree with all that so far.
So far, up.
I mean, we've been following as you said, like the Ripple shit and Uniswap, and it's like
Ripple.
they've been trying to bully crypto companies for a long time, but this is the first time there's been like, I think they even did they have a thing with like a Top Shot.
Yeah, they had a few. Like they're like, but I think that was also just a Wells notice. Like they let them know, and they haven't followed up on it yet.
And that was also a
So-
specific NFT brand, which I feel like is more fair because some NFT brands
Yeah.
might be promising shit they shouldn't. But
I
like
agree
to
with
target
that,
all of
yeah.
OpenSea is just like, that's fucking crazy. Like, I don't know. It's such a wide variety of stuff is traded on OpenSea.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's literally like independent artists and shit stuff that they're being roped into this blanket definition.
There's also a lot of nonsense on OpenSea too, but
Oh,
again, like I
no
don't think you can
question.
blanket target the entire platform and not the people
Yeah.
operating incorrectly through the platform.
100%.
All right, next paragraph. We're confident that OpenSea operates legally and that our users aren't trading securities when they buy or sell NFTs using our platform. Our users engage with NFTs for many reasons, like purchasing a gaming item or avatar to use in game, supporting a beloved artist, or boasting allegiance to their chosen sports team. All of that I agree with. Like my NFL Rivals cards should not be fucking securities. They're video games in a mobile game I play. What the fuck? Classifying NFTs as securities would not only misinterpret the law, but would also jeopardize artists' livelihoods, disempower collectors and gamers, and stifle the innovation across the many promising use cases for NFTs.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, we're already witnessing the SEC's regulation by enforcement-only approach discourage artistic expression. Take, for example, the lawsuit filed against the SEC by musician Jonathan Mann and conceptual artist Brian L. Fry. Their fear that sales of their art and music could be deemed unregistered securities offerings is a clear signal of the chilling effect that misguided agency action can have on the creative expression and innovation. Here's an excerpt from their complaint. The SEC's approach threatens the livelihood and artists of creators that are simply experimenting with the novel, fast-growing technology or have chosen it as their preferred medium. Artists nationwide are suddenly confronted with the specter of the SEC attacking their distribution of visual or musical art as an unregistered securities offering. Artists, both established artists and young upstarts, are suddenly faced with a bizarre question. Do they need to hire a securities lawyer just to sell their art? It's difficult to imagine a 21st century Buddy Guy who famously left Louisiana looking for a dime, spending that dime and thousands of dollars more on securities lawyers to advise him on the securities laws and risks of selling his music to the general public. It's even harder to imagine the absolute impoverishment of the American art and music if we constructed barriers to the next generation of artists, many of whom are growing up working natively in digital realms. I agree with all that. I mean,
yeah, I'm on board with that. I think it's nonsense, and I think it's like you're applying like this weird logic just because it's a technology. Like it's the same shit we've been doing forever. It's just in a new medium.
yeah, I mean,
And
you can
the
you can sell records that are from the 60s for like hundreds of dollars more than they were worth when you bought them, or fucking vinyl record securities, like, because you can
And
profit off them.
100% people bought those records with the intention of reselling them for more later as collector items.
Is
Are those
Supreme
were those
Clothing,
securities?
when they do clothing drops because they're limited releases that you can always flip for more money? Is the PlayStation, when people are getting stabbed for the PlayStation because there's less supply than demand, is anything with less of a supply than a demand now a security because you can sell it for more than you paid for it?
Yeah.
Like,
It's because there's because just because there's money involved doesn't automatically make it a security. It's fucking nuts.
I put on my glasses, I get smart. I make good points. Should wear them more
Yeah.
often.
Nice.
All right, next paragraph. This is a slippery slope. If NFTs like those displayed on OpenSea are classified as securities, where does it stop? What's to prevent non-NFT collectibles like, say, physical or digital baseball cards from being lumped in as well, or physical digital fine art, as Man Fry's complaint points out? That's funny. That's pretty much exactly what I was saying before we got there.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
That NFTs are often compared to physical art and collectibles such as baseball cards, Pokemon cards, sneakers, or watches. Thus, as has been explicitly recognized by one commissioner, the SEC's broad interpretation of the Howey test threatens to not only sweep into its jurisdiction all digital art represented by NFTs, regardless of the context in which they are offered and sold, it would also sweep into the scope of all art and collectibles. Read broadly enough, all art and collectibles involve a person investing money in a common enterprise with an expectation of profit if the artist becomes more famous or the value of the art increases on the resale market.
Insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. The limited Jordans are now securities.
Yep.
All you people selling your basketball shoes are now unregistered security salespeople, and you're fucking going to jail.
Yeah. So if I bought those Jordans, do I have a case to sue the shoe store that sold them to me because that shoe store was not registered as a securities broker? They can't be selling me unregistered securities, can they? Save me, SEC. I need you to save me from predatory, collector stores selling me limited edition shit. Fucking nonsense.
All right, I think this is what Max was talking about earlier. It says the potential repercussions on creative expression are further highlighted in dissent by two sitting SEC commissioners in the Stoner Cat settlement.
Yeah.
Were we to apply the securities laws to physical collectibles in the same way we apply them to NFTs, artist creativity would wither in the shadow of legal ambiguity. Whether an artist is selling numbered versions of physical prints for fans to display on their walls or NFTs for fans to display on social media, she deserves clear guidance about whether and how the securities laws apply. Artists of all kinds have long struggled to support themselves, and NFTs offer a potentially viable way for them to monetize their talents. The fact that money is involved does not transform NFTs into securities.
Yes, thank you.
And then it's the thing Max read about the Stoner Cat's NFTs are not different than the Star Wars collectibles sold in the 1970s.
Yeah.
With the early bird certificate packages that you could then resell that were IOUs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last two paragraphs are, to help ensure creators continue innovating without fear, OpenSea is pledging $5 million to cover legal fees for NFT artists and developers that receive a Wells notice.
That's cool.
Try to get a Wells notice just to get $5 million, then hopefully not get sued.
Get a cut of that for illegal, and then afterwards be like, oh, we didn't need it, so we'll just use it to buy back and then buy back our own NFTs and do a shared enterprise with everyone who owns them, create security out of them.
We should send them a Microsoft Paint Wells notice and see if they reply. Just from Wells, hey guys, we're potentially suing you. Send this to OpenSea.
Yeah, there you go. Quadrell says no, wait, who was that? That's Chucky. Says, if I give you a penny for your thoughts, do you owe taxes on the penny? If it's enough of enough times, yeah, like Rock Metal is saying is correct. After $600, yes, it becomes taxable income.
That'd be what, 6,000, 60,000?
60,000, yeah.
That's a lot of thoughts. I don't know if I have that many thoughts.
Times. So you can do it 59,999 times, and no, you don't owe taxes on that. And I think then you can do that every year. So yeah, there's definitely a
that's a pretty bad rate, though. I'm pretty sure you can write articles.
I mean, it's the same
publications for more than that.
It's also BS because if you are paying me a penny for my thoughts, and you're doing that 60,000 times, then now I also have to fill out a W-2, and you have to issue me a 1099.
I'm gonna pay you a
Because
penny for your thought, and then I'm gonna sell your thought for 10 cents. Profit.
yeah. Well, as long as I'm making $600, I have to fill out a W-2, and you owe me a 1099, and we both have to pay taxes. So let's keep it under 600.
All right. We hope the SEC will reconsider its stance and approach this issue with the open-mindedness it deserves. Until then, OpenSea remains committed to standing up for our vision of a better internet, one that empowers individuals and fosters creativity, rather than stifling it with unnecessary regulatory burdens. Almost got through all those big words. Yeah, I don't know. That's about the best response I could expect from OpenSea. Being like, nah, y'all are fucking wrong. Bring it on. Guns a-blazing. We'll take you to court and we'll fucking win.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if you can give me it as a gift, and that wouldn't necessarily circumvent the taxes, would it? I know you can give money as a gift between family up to $17,000 a year before it becomes taxable. But anything over that, you do have to pay taxes on. You can't just like give your money to somebody else and then avoid paying taxes because you gifted it. And I think 17,000 is for family member gifts. I think for strangers or whatever, it's lower than that. But
all right, let's do this giveaway and then move on to our Wax DeFi.
I think there's also a lifetime maximum. Like if you can't just like keep dicking around year to year to year and do it tax free. I think if you hit, it's a pretty high. It's like $3 or $4 million or something in gifts. But after a certain threshold, you can't get gifted money anymore for free.
I'm so crazy about that shit.
It's as of 2024, it's like 17,000. In 2023, it was like 13,000 or something. But it changes how much you're allowed to give between family tax free each year. You know.
All right. Comes this giveaway. We'll give away some whoop.
Give it away now.
I haven't checked how Wolf is doing. It's definitely down a bit, but I think that's because the whole crypto market went down.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tomorrow we have Franklin from Novo Pangea coming on. We're doing some sort of collab with Alien Worlds right now that I wanted to share. And then we'll probably do our off the rails. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. I was thinking maybe doing a stream and then ending it and then starting it so we can do our copyrighted stuff and not get the Franklin stuff flagged. But we might also just be able to clip the part with Franklin and release that as a clip. That's like a 30-minute clip at the beginning of the stream. We don't have to pause and restart, but that'll be at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. And then we have the Neon Space Fantasy Draft at 6 p.m. So I have a heart out for that. And also, I'm excited to get our Neon Space Fantasy Football League going.
Nice.
Football season starts next week, I think, which is crazy. It feels like I've been waiting for it forever. And it's finally here. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me this year because I won last year, so now I have to like not embarrass myself and prove it wasn't beginner's luck.
Yeah, it was a fluke.
I do think like there's a chance that like I over prepare. Let me see if I can find. My brother posted a funny meme about how like when you know what you're doing when it comes to fantasy and like prepare a ton, like you're still just gonna screw yourself over, but in a more complicated way. Oh shit, I'm in the...
I think I know the meme. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, here it is. I might have already put this on stream. It says new fantasy players. It's just a guy walking into a rake, and it says experience. It's a guy doing like a kickflip and then hitting himself in the face with a rake. It's like, I learned all the tricks just to still hit myself in the face with a bat. Which I don't know. It's at the end of the day, it's gambling because you don't know which players are going to get injured. Like, there's so much stuff that's like, even if you do all the research and you pick the team that would be the best team, your guy freaking like, or even not even injury, like your guy could fucking like drunk drive and then get suspended for a season. Like, there's so much shit that you can't predict what people are going to do in their personal lives and or like injuries and shit that you can do all the research and still get completely screwed. So there's definitely a lot of luck involved in fantasy football. So I've done a lot of research, but still might get screwed.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I have a lot of fun doing fantasy. All right, Mahala gotten first.
GG.
A million wolf. Crazy to see our list started on 8/1/2021. So we've had this list for over 3 years of wallets. How many wallets are on this list too?
Oh yeah, lots.
1,700 people have signed up for our giveaways at some point.
Woo. That's badass.
There's a lot of duplicates, so it's not like those are all individual people, but still a lot.
That is a lot.
We also started streaming before that. The list we didn't get until we started streaming on Twitch, because originally we were doing on Discord, and people were submitting their wallets on Discord in a channel that we had. And then we realized it was easier to multi-account. Stop doing that. For a while, everybody's posting in Discord. For a while, we were streaming in Discord too. We weren't even streaming on Twitch.
Right.
Second place is Nashville Lou, getting 500k. Nashville Lou always reminds me of Brawl, because he was streaming Blockchain Brawlers a lot. But I wonder, like, Max and I haven't tried Blockchain Brawlers in like a year. I wonder if like the updates and stuff have been good. It's a better game now.
All right.
I wonder, should I stream the Neon Space Draft? The only thing is, like, I don't want people stream sniping me. Like, KY's super sweaty fantasy player. I feel like if I tell people who I want to draft, he's gonna like steal it from me. He's gonna be like, "That's my player now. Suck it." But maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. I feel like we're all friendly enough that people aren't gonna be total dicks. But it is bad for your strategy to like discuss who you're planning on drafting, because people can strategize around that.
Can you force a delay to the stream?
Could do that. But then it kind of sucks for like the chat is way behind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's lame.
But I also might just do it offline. It could also be fun to like just hop into a Discord call and not broadcast everything that's happening.
There you go. That's
like,
good.
Or like, you know, I could share my screen and do a Discord call, but not tell people who I'm drafting and shit. Just, I guess you'd see it if I shared my screen. So maybe, I don't know. If people are interested, I think Yamster here, who just entered, is going to be there. Cone Dog, who is also in just won the last competition, going to be there. I am the KY. Lots of usual suspects in Neon Space. Burst of Energy from the Atomic Kings is going to be playing as well. He didn't do so hot last year. Shots fired at Burst.
He's got to reclaim the throne.
He got kind of screwed with injuries.
Yeah, just broadcast false flags. That's funny.
I'm also worried. Oh man,
Yamster's got the strategy down. You should just like do a stream that's like not your actual picks.
Yeah. I'm drafting. Just say all the wrong people, like star the wrong people, and then have like a separate your phone up doing the actual shit you want. But
sweaty, outsweat the sweaty.
He told his wife to say goodbye from you to 6 to 8 p.m. tomorrow. Yamster's ready. Nice. I'm gonna do a couple of practice drafts tonight. I've been doing too many best ball drafts. In best ball drafts, you don't choose a defense or a kicker, so like it's a little different. Although, spoiler alert for my own drafting strategy, I've been taking defense and kickers pretty much last rounds because I want my skilled positions. Last year, I ended up like drafting a kicker and defense kind of early, and then ended up dropping them and picking up new players like depending on when their bye weeks were. So I was like, oh, this position I ended up swapping like 9 times anyway. And if you're gonna do that, why waste the draft pick on them? Because if you're gonna swap them on the waiver wire, you can just do that outside of the draft.
I see.
Yamster, you did pretty good for missing the draft last year. You chose your like first auto draft pick, blew everybody's mind. You went with Patrick Mahomes, which was just like, which I don't know. In previous years, wouldn't have been that bad of a pick, but he had kind of like one of his worst fantasy years last year. Also, people generally don't pick quarterbacks until like round 2 or 3. So starting off the very first pick with Patty Mahomes was yeah. I don't. I'm curious to see how he'll do this year. People are really like Xavier Worthy, who's their new rookie wide receiver. He set the record for the fastest 40-yard sprint ever in the NFL Combine. So he's like potentially one of the fastest wide receivers in the league. And people are kind of saying he's got a smaller frame, but they kind of compared him like Tyreek Hill, or Tyreek Hill is a smaller guy, but in the past, like really tall wide receivers have been the best. But like Tyreek Hill is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, and he's got a smaller build and just super fast.
Oh, Yamster just shared his number 1 pick.
That was a joke. JJ McCarthy just got a season-ending injury.
Oh,
So
so I don't know enough about football to catch the joke.
Sam Darnold is the backup now. Are you not joking, Hamster?
Oh man, you might have saved him. He's got tilt.
Okay.
Oh, okay, he is. No, okay.
Yeah, I'd say Minnesota is one of the
know.
most dangerous teams because people don't think Sam Darnold's even going to be a quarterback for the whole season. So like,
false flags.
his backups might take over. Same with the 3 teams that kind of have like danger zone for drafting quarterbacks are Minnesota now, and then the Steelers. Russell Wilson's supposed to start, but Justin Fields might take over at some point. And then the Raiders. The Raiders had like a QB competition between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, which Gardner Minshew won, but a lot of people think like by the end of the season, Aiden O'Connell's going to be playing. So who knows? All right. Let's go over to Max before we get too into football. If people are interested in the football stuff, I'd be down to maybe stream it tomorrow. I've been doing a lot of best ball drafts on DraftKings, which is a very different format, but I've done like 20 of those. Done way too many. All the money I'm making from Counter-Strike shit, I'm investing in best ball drafts.
Nice.
All right, here's Max's screen.
Let's take a look at the crypto market. Right? It's Wax Wednesday. We haven't had a chance to look at the markets yet. What's happening? Here's Bitcoin on the daily chart, and you can see kind of clear continuing playing out. Our highs are getting lower highs. Our lows are getting lower. We're still trending down. Let's start on the weekly like we did last week. Last week we were looking at the weekly chart. Last week we were getting a bit of, we had 2 weeks closing in these dojis, which are undecided. And then last week when we were looking at it, we had kind of a push back and this close kind of above our strength band, looking like, oh, hey, we maybe are diverging back into, pushing higher. And we wanted to see this next week candle kind of confirming this breaking out move, which so far it's absolutely failing to confirm. It's actually looks like it's failing to reclaim this support and is actually being rejected here. So this kind of like more bullish looking candle seems to not have continued to confirm that bullish pattern unless of course this candle is going to close higher. Then we got 3 days left in the week, so we could, but you can see even with the wicks here, we're already like all the way to the bottom of where we were last time this week, and we're not making so if we zoom in even closer, you can see this little wick here was the high, so we're making a lower high on this week so far, unless in the next 3 days we get a turnaround here. But the weekly is looking pretty not great, not really what we want to see, because now we're basically showing that on the weekly we've lost our strength band as our support, bouncing board, and we're starting to potentially close full weeks below and full weeks in a bearish candle close here. Again, 3 days left for this close. Still kind of volatility, still not fully confirmed. Let's get a little closer here on the daily chart now, and we can kind of get a closer look. And here we're seeing exactly what we were talking about earlier: higher highs or lower highs and lower lows, kind of trending that way. You can see the last kind of low here being this wick, which definitely blew us out of our previous low, which was the bottom of this wick, which was definitely lower than the previous low, which is this guy, and so on and so forth. So what we basically need to see on the daily chart is for the Bitcoin price to start making a higher high followed by a higher low. We haven't gotten either of those yet. So at this point, we're still very much, in this range, kind of trending down. On the weekly chart, we definitely have, let's see, I'll reset the chart. We definitely have, the support kind of line here, our strength band, which has on the weekly chart for the entirety of our bull run this year, been our bouncing board and support. You can see the most strong indication of that happening right here, where we kind of touched it, maybe wicked down below it a couple days during those weeks, but never really closed the full weeks below it. Here we're first time we're kind of faltering on that bouncing board. You can also see that faltering comes with a lot of volatility. Most of these candles back to back, very large, without being unilaterally moving in one direction. So you do see a few like of these where they're large candles for multiple days, but it's because there's a breakout. So this is like a market uptrend. So right now, since we're just kind of sideways moving, whenever we have been sideways moving in the past, it starts being kind of these smaller candles, especially when we're near our support, which we can see, here too, near the support. And then here we get longer candles, but it's all like moving upwards. If we find like sideways action, it's not super common to see this amount of volatility in the sideways motion. But that also, helps to kind of emphasize the uncertainty that is being signaled by these doji closes. And then you can see, on our weekly now, we are losing our support and potentially going to sell off. What we needed on the weekly is a 61K close, which is right around, above basically this last wick of this, which we're not, again, 3 days to close. We're not closed yet, but it's not looking super strong right now. Really kind of like closing below here is making it look like, we have our opportunity to kind of like move lower. And that lower range is, where we're flatlining here for a couple months. Marcy, you don't need to be barking.
Try to thank myself for subscribing. I just resubscribed with my Twitch Prime. Thanks, Polish
Nice.
Dog. Me for funneling money back into my own stream.
Thank you. But yeah, so what we're seeing here is, as it like moves sideways, it generally will like get smaller and smaller before breaking out of a trend. And here it isn't really getting smaller and smaller as far as these candles aren't, I guess these ones were a little small, but not really, because if we look at the wicks, this was actually quite a large candle, when you factor the wick in as well. And then the next one here, this doji, is like the first one where it's starting to kind of like chill, but it's signaling indecision, which has kind of materialized here in more volatility. So keeping an eye on the Bitcoin chart, moving to the daily chart, we are looking for it to potentially, retest support levels down here, where we found this kind of like, we were looking at this on the weekly chart a second ago too, which is right here. So that is going to be kind of like the main line of defense here, for you can actually see our biggest wick, like the bottom of this wick, pushed right below, kind of like, if we look at this, right where we got our doji before we got this push up to this flat line here, this bottom is probably right in line with that wick. This is the wick. Let me move it. And then here's the bottom of that. And yeah, close. Let's see if I actually measure it from the actual bottom of the wick. Yeah, it goes like right to around here. So this range here is our next kind of like support level for Bitcoin. We're looking for a bounce above, obviously, like 52K, 51K, which is still a ways from, 59. So we definitely have room to move down in the coming days. Looking at the weekly chart, we're on the oversold side of the spectrum, but not oversold, just on the side of it. So we have room to move down. We would consider this oversold once the SR side down here starts to flatline. Same goes for the daily chart. We know the daily chart is starting to sell off with the last 2 days. Kind of price action here, these bigger days giving us that move down into the oversold territory, but not quite yet at oversold. We really need to see, I guess, we got this lower low. We got kind of, this is a lower high, it looks like, since we're getting rejected, this being the last high before that. So now it's like we're waiting for this to, potentially form a lower low again and continue this down pattern. If we do continue to sell off, we're looking for a lower low to probably form around 51 or something, like around here, before then, retesting and potentially forming another lower high and continuing the trend down. Nothing ever moves in a straight line, forever. And so this has definitely been kind of a volatile few months, but a general trend moving downward, since we can very clearly see that we're getting lower highs and lower lows. Shifting this focus over to Ethereum gives us a more clean bearish case. So you can see Ethereum generally trades similarly to Bitcoin, but kind of as like a delta, or like a beta rather, like a beta of Bitcoin. So like more aggressively will move. So if we're getting a downtrend in Bitcoin, which is pretty, trending down pretty clearly, especially, looking at peaks and valleys. Valleys are definitely trending lower and lower. Peaks definitely trending lower. So like, yeah, we're getting that like indication, but looking at that same kind of trend on ETH, it's even more clear. And especially in this recent sell-off, the rebound hasn't been anywhere near as aggressive as it was on Bitcoin. So that also is going to help to inform kind of my bearish sentiment moving into the week. ETH looks like it wants to continue kind of dumping, and Bitcoin also, on the daily here, we have our bear print. We haven't flipped that back to a bull print, and we're back to being red here. Like our strength band just flipped back to red. This is kind of like I've set a few positions short again, expecting if we do get a sell off into the 51,000 range, I want to basically buy Bitcoin back here after having sold it here, is kind of the move what I'm going for here by short selling. But either way, like looking at, if you're not trying to leverage trade or short or long or whatever, looking for opportunities to basically add to your Bitcoin stack. If you're doing like a dollar cost average approach, those opportunities should be looking for around like 52 and 51,000 next, before potentially moving even lower to these levels here, which is 44, 45, retesting that level potentially. That's still possible, especially if we zoom out further. Let's go to the monthly chart. You can see, let's get a little bit of a clearer look here. Monthly chart, you can see with this big old wick here, we still haven't made it all the way down to our strength band. And just like I was just saying, 45,000 or so, it's interesting to see 44,800, 45 is about where our strength band is right now on the monthly. So we still have that room to potentially pull back, in that same lower high, lower lows, progressively grinding down lower price action on the monthly chart, while still staying north of our bull market support line, and effectively staying in a long-term bull trend still. So this would see us, pulling back to kind of previous bull market support levels around, like I said, 45, which is going to be kind of like here. Yeah, right around here, which is basically smack dab in the middle of this chunk of activity here. And so that will be like a strong level of support for us on the monthly chart. The monthly patterns definitely take, I'd say like 3 to 12 months to play out. So this isn't something that we'd see happening here by next week, but more like 3 months from now, we would see, this having continued. If we go back to the weekly at that point, this having continued kind of like doing a choppy up and down and up and down and up and down, and then eventually making its way to, like, what was it, 45K. So up and down, it doesn't even have to be that much just to get back down to here. So we'd get kind of a chop to pull us back here before finding support on that monthly support line, and then pushing us up and, retesting previous all-time highs, and then making new higher highs, which again, looking at that long of a time frame, the monthly chart, that would definitely show us let's zoom out here. That would show us a high. This is the last high, a higher low than the previous low. This high is higher than the previous high, so we've made a higher high already. If we do get that pullback to our 45K support, we're getting a higher low, and that would kind of give us a confirmation of this breakout on the monthly chart. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see over the next, I guess, looking at the monthly chart, this is like a 2-year play out where we would get like, a pullback for the next few months, probably through the rest of the year, with an early 2025 breakout into the bull market, which is something that fits a lot of narratives. So maybe
it's
we
on
see
the
that.
roadmap for that prediction market.
Yeah, it's right with the roadmap. So there is that. But basically, what we're seeing this past week, we got quite a decent amount of sell off. We did hit a new like lower low, and this week, when we got after that big sell off, we rebound. We kind of like rebounced back up, and since we did that, we've also again, lost that momentum upward and are basically starting to see what looks like could be a higher or lower high forming. So potentially the daily chart showing us that we're moving further down, and then the weekly chart also, still closing below our strength band. Bitcoin looking less strong than it was last week, where last week we got our close like, hey, we're right at the band. We're starting to close a little bit above it. This looks like we could be turning things around. This week immediately retracing us back and putting us back into the more bearish side of things. Looking quickly here at the SPY as well. This is this S&P 500 on the weekly chart. You can see we've gotten the early kind of stages of what could be a double top, where you have, this is the weekly chart again. So we've topped here, made new all-time highs, gotten a pullback with a deviation below the band, but immediately, within the same week, pulling back and jumping back up above. And then since then, making it not quite to the all-time high again, and starting to pull the week back. So we have a day, like 2 days left for the stock market to close. If we do close, lower than the previous week high, or like basically if we close this candle like the way it's looking now, and then have next week's candle closing lower as well, that would then more or less start to spell out a double top, which is more of a bearish development here in the market. And then that coupled with Bitcoin's already potentially bearish position can help, exacerbate a sell-off and potentially then push us down to, like the levels of 45K, or between potentially 45 and 40, which is quite a ways to go down still. We're basically at 60 now. So that would see us selling off. Was that like 30% more from here? Yeah, like 30%, 28% more if we go down to 40. But if we make it to like 45, 22% still. 22% is quite a bit. So keeping in mind that we can see that amount of selling off over the next several months. Again, I'm not expecting like a huge drop all of a sudden, although we have been getting more volatility, and there have been some pretty harsh dropping days recently. And I think that is also a decent indication of like there's an anticipation in these assets waiting for a big move here. And so that's kind of like, a lot, especially when you start seeing lower highs, lower lows, and it's being clear. A lot of algorithms and traders and stuff pick up on these signals and then, take positions short selling when they're expecting the market to fall. And that's when you get these kind of like short-term like volatilities where you then, have people trading the opposite direction to try to squeeze out and get that short seller, money to liquidate, which every time there's big moves in the market, there's always headlines that accompany them. Like most recently I saw, Bitcoin falls below 60,000 and triggers like $200 million of liquidations. So that kind of like volatility is, what people will set their positions and then set tight stops and then get liquidated during volatility. Even if long-term they would have been right that the market's moving down. Well, if you went, for example, like this, let's look a little closer here. For example, here, this is a very clean uptrend. Here we got our like all-time high, then we pulled back, and then we got a retest. This is a lower high, so this might be the first time we're getting an indication that like, oh, it's not as strong as it was here. And then we got this day, or we're on the week, so this week and this week, both confirming back to back, okay, the trend is moving down. So people maybe would be opening short, around here, 62,000, 63,000. That short would have been nicely in profit over these weeks. And then you maybe are, if you are in profit, you're maybe moving your stop losses into profit and then you get volatility like this to close out those big moves, or potentially ones that aren't moved into profit. You get a push that basically retests the top with these little wicks, the top of this previous pattern again, which is why we always get kind of like a lower high. So this is the idea here, is like this volatility then chases out the positions that were short sold here, so that if we do now move all the way down to like 45,000, it's not going to be like, okay, people get this clear indication that we're moving down, you can open your short here and trade all the way down to here for free. No, you can open your short here and then get liquidated here as as the market kind of rebounds and people get like a sense of like, oh, maybe it's not going to collapse back as hard as we think. Maybe this drop here, and now that we've got 2 weeks closing above the band again, maybe this is just a deviation. Maybe I need to off risk. Once you've shaken out that paper hands again, you get another aggressive sell off. More people opening shorts as you get this kind of like price action, and then immediately price action that goes this far down is being like, okay, we're now dropping below where this last drop happened. So right after this, confirms that we're moving lower. This might be a trigger for more people to start taking short positions and then immediately get eaten by the rebound, because, volatility feeds off of this kind of stuff. So that's, you see bigger candles and bigger swings like that, because we have less clarity in the price movements, and then there's a decent amount of volume that's leverage trading, and there's a lot of value in moving those assets when there's a lot of leverage to liquidate, and that's why you get headlines like $200-300 million liquidated. That's kind of like what they're talking about in those headlines. Looking at Ethereum, though, we can get a much clearer. We already have our bear print on the weekly chart. And so we are kind of looking for it to fall. Although on the weekly we're also becoming a little oversold. So again, mixed, a little bit of a mixed message. Although here you can see we got our big sell-off, we got our rebound, and it very, very much only made it to the band before being rejected there, and then falling below where our kind of like bullish support was, which would be like here where all these lines had been bouncing. We fell below that, and now you can see actually the red line is where our current price is, and you can see that's basically right on that support level. And so now we're basically like waiting for this to hold, hopefully, and push back and retest, and then hopefully make it higher. But it's looking kind of bearish. So in the coming week, I think we have potential to see these markets continue to sell to sell off a little bit. I think there is a decent bearish case to be made for, general market sentiment. Like we have a little bit of the worries of a recession. There is talk from Jerome Powell of reducing federal interest rates, which is also, that's a positive. It's good for market conditions usually. But it also comes with a lot of people talking about this narrative that is not inaccurately. So that is that right before recession is usually like the recessions don't follow rate hikes. The recessions tend to follow rate cuts after a rate hike period. And so we have had our rate hikes now since like 2020. They've been like slowly ramping up the interest rates. We've been at these higher interest rates now for a little over a year. And now we're starting to signal that we're going to be cutting these rates back down to, ease the strain on the economy. Generally speaking, that's also the pattern of a recession. A recession follows the start of those next rate cuts. But we'll have to actually see how it really plays out. There've been recession talks for like a decade already. So there's definitely fiscal policy that has pushed a lot of the potential of those recessions down the road and made it like possible for us to kind of like continue money printing and seeing these assets reach new all-time highs. Eventually the bill does come due though. And, there's definitely a decent school of thought out there, a decent amount of people out there who are of the opinion that the market needs like a recession or a cool down to redistribute kind of like all of this, money that was printed and pumped into these equity assets, more equally kind of distributed. And most realistically, during a recession, big hedge funds are the ones that win. Like everyday people and smaller companies and stuff end up going broke and defaulting and selling their assets to the big guy for pennies on the dollar. So we'll have to basically see if that's what we are getting. You can see again on the daily chart, we have our bear print. We haven't flipped it bullish yet. And we have kind of gotten a deviation where we got, we pushed back above support, but weren't able to hold it in a meaningful way. Despite having multiple days closing above that support, both those days basically flat as hell. Signal dojis, so both of these are like undecided, not necessarily signaling strength. And then since then, only kind of red days following. So I think in the coming week we're going to see probably more likely red than not red. But I don't want to expose myself purely to like short positions either. So let's see what we want to do. Let's jump over to the market here. So I'm on my wallet here, DeFi1.ftw. This is the wallet that we use every week to kind of move our wax positions around and participate in LP farms. I have also on Taco Swap, there's our wax and woof here. And then, on Alcor Swap, I have these pools. So let's take a look at how we've done last week, what we're still in, and how those look for the coming week, and then what we want to do to restructure our exposure for the coming week, taking into account what we just pulled from the chart, which suggests that maybe we're seeing a little bit of a red in the market for the coming week. So with all that in mind, let's take a look at what we got. First things first, on Taco Swap, we still have Wax Woof. If we go over the Meal tab and toggle staked, we can see that our position is earning 20% APR here, and that APR is going to be good for at least the next week. So 8 days for the Taco side, 51 days still for the Woof side. And Woof and Wax have been kind of like the two biggest, if we go over to analytics here, kind of the two biggest volume producers here. You got number one and number two, number one being Wax and USDT, which obviously the USDT pool puts up a good amount of volume, especially when the price is moving versus just ranging and moving flat. When the price is moving up and down, that's great. And you can see here the Wax Wolf pool is the second biggest one, with also putting up $300,000 in volume in the past month. And then TLM follows closely, but you can see Wax and Woof are kind of like the clear winners here of the volume producing assets. And so I like staying in this Wax Woof pool. I think Woof has let's take a look at Woof in terms of Wax is right here. Let's go to the daily chart. Boink. Here you go. So we've seen Woof kind of like climb quite aggressively in terms of Wax. These the last couple weeks, it had sold off, and we were watching it kind of sell off, but we were still like, I think we actually, when we saw it fall to the green line here, which is going to be our, I think, 50-day moving average. Yeah, when we saw it falling to there, we actually reduced our exposure to this pool a little bit. So you'll remember we actually pulled some of our liquidity from this pool to distribute it into some of our other pools on Alcor that weren't exposed to Woof. I think what we actually did was move into this LS Wax LSW pool so that we could basically isolate some of our exposure from the Wax side of things into a pool that's specifically, from the Woof side of things into a pool that's specifically Wax exposed. And then these ones we're still farming. So we'll take a look at those in a second. But the last thing I want to see is okay, and then here, so Woof, you see we have pulled back. We've pulled back to the 100-day moving average, which is this red line, and we're bouncing there for now. So I think let's stay in this at least another week and see how this bounce plays out. So next week we'll have 7 more candles here, and we'll see if those 7 candles were able to push us up to the moving average here, the green line, or if we're going to continue move down in the coming weeks. And if we do that, maybe we will adjust our exposure further. But for now, we have a decent runway left of rewards on the Taco pool. And we have, I think we're sitting pretty on, I think over 100. Yeah, we still have, so we're over 300, like 320 wax worth of liquidity in this pool. So we still have a decent exposure here. So this week, all I want to do is just, let's just claim the Taco rewards. So we'll start with that. And let me see if Taco is launching my wallet appropriately. It wasn't earlier from my other wallet, so okay, it is now though. Cut that. Waiting for confirmation. It says and done. Okay, so we've claimed the rewards there. Beyond that, I'm just gonna leave the liquidity here alone. I like, I like this exposure, and I like the fact that we're getting 20% APR on it, which beats the shit out of what Wax Woof is offering us over here on Alcor. So if we go to Alcor and Farms, we can see, let's untoggle the stake. Here's the Wax Woof pool, and you can see 8, 9, 10, 11, and of the 11% we could get here, only 8% of that comes from Woof, and so 20% is significantly higher. And we're doing it with less different assets, so it's Woof and Taco over on Taco Swap. Let's take a look now at toggling the stake pools. What are we still in, and how is the runway looking? Can we stay here, or should we move? So last week we moved. We have Rook LS Wax, we have SDM Wax, Wax Booty Wax, Wax Neon, and Wax HCC. HCC is, I think, one of our newer pools. We split 50% of our Wax Neon, I believe, into the HCC pool when we first saw it coming up. And so let me toggle back to the pool page, and we can kind of get a sense of how these things are going by simply looking at our assets in pool metric. And you can see, like, we did about 100 wax into the Neon pool, if you remember. So this should have been about 25 on the wax side. So we're at 26. So we're sitting on like 102 wax. So like basically up about 2% since we joined this pool and earning the rewards. SDM, similar deal. I think we were about, maybe it's the opposite direction actually. We're down a couple wax on that one, but also making our rewards here. Same with Rook. You see we have 25, so this is also about 100 bilateral, although 100 LS wax instead of wax. Still relatively similar. HCC, you can see we're actually at 31. So it looks like HCC probably pumped a bit since we entered, because this used to be 25. So we're at like, instead of this being 50 wax, we're at like 62 wax. So that's actually quite a bit up already, and we're still making I think sizable rewards from that farm. Yeah, look, that sizable is fair. 173%. That's great. That's actually our best farm. Which, that coupled with the profit we're in there, definitely sticking around. And then Wax Booty, and like I said last, LSW, LS Wax. So let's take a look. Farms. First thing I want to do is make sure I'm staking, and I immediately notice I'm not staking one of my pools. I can see that right here where it says
Winterfell is asking, position. Still having stakes in FTW pools? ?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I've been growing my.
If you looked at the beginning of the stream, Max talked a lot about how FTW works. I don't want to go back through it all. We spent like a full hour talking about it, so
yeah, it was a lot.
If you want to watch the VOD.
I'm still in on that one, and then I use my yield farming wallet to I claim my rewards, and then I use that to deepen my own stake in those pools, in my personal wallet stakes. So no
worries. Just check out if you are interested in like how that works. When this video is done, we're going to re-upload it to YouTube. Just watch the VOD. But Max shows how he sustainably will continue to recreate stake pools for FTW, and the intention is to continue to do that. I don't know, indefinitely at this point. I don't think there's a day where he plans on stopping.
Yeah, like when you see the 30, like basically the pools, how they, like these all say like 6 days, 48 days or whatever, you'll notice that the FTW pools, they will say 30 days and start counting down from that. Generally after a week, they'll reset to 30 days. So what I do is I, harvest rewards and then redistribute them either on Sunday, Friday, or Wednesday on stream, but once a week. I haven't done it since last Friday. So it'll probably be this Friday or more realistically Sunday. But first thing I just did was up here I had where it says create farms, there was a stake all positions. My LSW, LS Wax was not staked anymore. And that's because I was in this finished farm. You see LS Wax? I'm still in the finished farm. But the new farm is now the active one. I need to actively, restake myself to that if I want to earn the APR, which is now 12%. 12% on liquid stake wax is fantastic, because that's on top of the APR that the liquid stake wax is earning. really, really solid. So this is the pool we moved into to reduce our woofy exposure when we saw the woofy price start to like trend down. I say we stick around here. This is great. We want some wax exposure, despite the fact that we're seeing a little bit of like red in the market. I also am a little weary of jumping into a stablecoin pool, mostly because the EOS is unwinding the like support for USDT, and I'm not 100% sure what the replacement for stablecoins on Wax is going to be just yet, and I'm not super keen on jumping in on a like on a wallet that I don't manage like on a daily basis into a pool that's exposed to stablecoins that are actively in the process of being unwound.
The Wax team said
Ah,
they're probably going to work on a bridge for USDC from Solana to replace it.
okay, that's great.
And
Like once that's live, I'd be much more inclined to use some USDC pairs.
I also don't know like exactly what's going to happen, but I assume because Alcor put up a ton of liquidity for the bridge and the initial liquidity for USDC on EOS, that they might move that liquidity over to USDC on from Solana, but unclear exactly if that's going to happen. But like, I feel like they have to, because why would they even bother? Because they already have a bridge over from Ethereum that nobody uses. So it's like we already have USDC.
Yeah.
If you're just going to create another bridge and put no liquidity in it, then just use that one.
Yeah, exactly. Or just put the fucking liquidity up for the tokens you already have bridged. That'd be fine with that too. But someone needs to put liquidity up.
I think
Either way,
Alcor is pretty invested in like having stablecoin liquidity. So also like, what are they going to do with all that liquidity? So it makes sense that they would switch it over.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You see this little purring kitty? Oh, yes,
It's the gas man.
He's so cute. He came over here. He was like, meow, pet me. But yeah, pretty low maintenance. Super cute. I need this in my life. But yeah,
what a little cutie.
Oh, you sweetie. Let's see what oh yeah, baby. You cuddle.
I can do
Let's
a
see what we
Pierre
want to do.
check. Pierre's still sleeping on my bed.
Oh, yes, buddy.
They were sleeping
No,
together, but he just got up and wanted pets. Gas.
Yeah, and he's purring over here now. What a sweetheart. Okay, let's take a look. What else we want? So we have 6 days left on this, but that's expected. And next week we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to restake this. So since we're doing this on Wednesdays anyway, and this resets on like Tuesday night, I'm totally cool like continuing to farm this pool. Beyond that, everything else we're in still has wonderful amount of runway. And I don't know that there's really any reason for us to like restructure our farm based on how well it's going. Like our weakest pool right now, if we're excluding the 12%, which is exclusively wax exposure anyway, our weakest like volatile pool here is neon wax, which I'm obviously biased, but I'm pretty confident that neon isn't gonna like take a huge shit. And 90% APR isn't something to scoff at. And so that's for that being our lowest position, and the rest of us pulling over 3 figures in all these pools. I'm very happy with sticking around here. Oh yes, you little tired kitty. Oh, hello. But so I'm just gonna leave these alone, but what I am gonna do is claim the rewards, and then I'm going to take those rewards and let's go into which one should we go into? It has a long runway and a solid yield. I would say it's going to be 111. Let's just go more Rook and LSW. For now, we have over 2 weeks left on the LSW rewards there. This is printing like 150% APR, and it has a shit ton of liquidity depth. So what I'm going to do is jump over here and take a look at what do we have in this wallet now after claiming all these rewards. What do you think, guys? He's like, do it. Okay, so it looks like we got some not updated info here. So I'm gonna hit this little refresh. Yeah, baby. Here we go. And let's see. Oh, you leaving me? Flop. He flopped out. Okay, so we have some LSW, we have some Rook already. You can see we have about 12 cents of that, and about 4 cents of, or it's 2.4 cents. So we need about 10 more cents of Rook, and then beyond that, we have a bunch of Woof. And so we have 20, let's see, 24. So what I want to do here is basically split the Woof we have into more LSW and Rook. And it looks like to do that, I'm going to do, I guess first things first. Let's get like 10 cents worth of Rook for our wax side here. So I'm going to start by toggling the wax side into Rook. I'm going to say like 75% or something. Let's see, our total is 24. So half is 12. Yeah, that works. So I'll do half of the Woof and swap that into Rook. Now I can come back over to Alcor. Go to the Pools tab, and then manage on my Rook LSW position, say increase, and then put up this. Let's put up the LSW. There we go. I'm gonna add the liquidity in a composition that works. And next, I'm gonna jump back over here and do another refresh. And now I should see. Okay, I have. Let's see. I still have this amount of Woof. Yep. So now we have about 12 cents. It looks like we have about 2.4 cents of Rook and no LSW left. So what I'm going to do is let's do like basically not quite 50%. I only want to do like 6 cents, not 6.1. So I'll do like 62.50 like that. Close. Let's do 63. We'll call that close enough. I'm going to swap that into more Rook. And then the remainder of my my Woof is going to be swapped into LS Wax. And so all I'm basically doing here is selling off the rewards I've made this week in Woof into LS Wax and more Rook. And the goal is to basically do that in order to deepen my liquidity position on that pool, and then earn those 160, 170% APR for the coming week. So we've just done all those swaps. I'm also doing all this on Wax on Edge because one, it gives me a good route, a trade route. So here you can see it did a taco swap route. Also a taco swap route that you probably wouldn't get on Taco Swap because this is using multiple liquidity pools. And it is going to be giving me some Woof kickbacks. So I'm going to go back here, increase liquidity again. And this time, I'm just going to, again, do the LSW side. Sign and done. Okay. And so now for next week, what I have is going to be the Rook and LSWs is becoming a bigger position for us now. If we go to, oh yeah, this is farms. So yeah, we can see, I guess I can just toggle here. So you can see we have 31 LS Wax now. So instead of this being like a 50 or 100 wax total, this is, or yeah, 50 wax total, this is now a 62. So we're slowly growing our position here, which is also printing a pretty decent APR. We also have our LSW wax position still cooking along. I guess we haven't actually looked at the range, but we set this range yesterday, and you can see we did like 1.2%, I think, on both sides, and now we're at 1.1 on one and 1.3 on the other. Very comfortably still in range. And this is, you can also see my tight range here is like a lot tighter still. But this gives us a pretty decent exposure to the pool. You can see we've made about 0.02 and 0.04 just in fees from about 100 on both sides of this. So that's very not bad at all. And you can see we're still very comfortably in range, so we don't have to really adjust our position. All the other ones are infinite range, so they're automatically balanced at 50-50. So no reason to fuck with that. Yeah, let me get some light in here. But yeah, now that we have all this, you can see we've gotten, all these positions. If we go back to farms, I'm pretty comfortable with the runway on all of these. The 6 day one is the only one that's a little bit like shaky, but hey, this is also the only pool that I'm in that doesn't really have impermanent loss potential. This is basically just holding staked wax. Even if I was out of range, I would still be doing better than just holding wax in my wallet. So this one, I don't really care about the time here. Any amount of APR here is going to be great. So 12% is fantastic. And then, like I said, our worst performing pool right now is the neon pool. We only are doing about 52 wax in that pool anyway, as it is. And 90% APR is still quite solid, especially for a pool where we're relatively confident that the assets aren't going to, suddenly disappear their value overnight. Neon token doesn't really have an inflation metric. The only way to get it is to burn and blend artwork into the Neon NFT and then transfer that over. And so there isn't really a huge whale out there other than, I guess, my liquidity that holds a shit ton of Neon tokens, and I don't really sell it. So I'm comfortable holding this one. Wax Booty, also nice long runway. And I do believe they're doing another distribution at some point, I heard. And then, like I said, SDM looking good on the chart, long runway, has an established product that's been around as long as I've been around on Wax. So a lot of these things are, a lot easier to participate in when the APR is so high and uh, the established perception of the asset seems to be sound. And then this one is definitely one that we did more as a speculation based on a very high APR, but that high APR also comes with a massive runway of like 6 months here. And so I'm totally cool riding this guy a little further. And just talking about it makes me realize that, oh no, no, okay, yeah, it is paying in Woof. So we already realized those tokens and have claimed them. So great. I think that's all I want to do this week. Let's do another giveaway. I know
I'm gonna show
Watson
off the
is
cat
marking
cam
me.
again real quick.
Yeah, I gotta take this call. Paul's calling. I gotta let him know.
Maybe I'll turn on my phone mic then. Give me one sec. Get the cat cam. Can you hear me? Test. Okay, I'm on my phone mic. Let's see what these cats are doing. Oh. Gotta really get in there. Let's get another angle. They're doing some grooming. Oh, yeah. Give him that tongue bath. These cats are so cute. Pretty sure they're brothers. So they got that brother bond. The one with the white feet. Tuxedo cat is Pierre. Jean-Pierre. He's the older brother. And then the all-black void is Gaspar. He's the little tiny guy. Oh yeah, get in there. He's doing the little kneading the dough in his chest. He's purring a bunch. I don't know if the purring's too quiet, if you can hear it. Those are our cat friends. Purring is really quiet. Let me get the webcam back. I feel like we should just have them permanent cat cam. I'll turn this off so we can see grubfish. This iPhone camera is actually pretty good. I think it might be higher quality than the webcam. What did you just post on the old twit? Oh yeah. I'll give that a like. Alright. Did I turn my mic back on? Or am I double blasting right now? Okay, there we go. Doing too many cameras and microphones at the same time. Alright. Let us start this giveaway. We'll maybe do one more giveaway and call it a stream. We've been going for... How long have we been going for? Almost 3 hours. And I gotta hang out these cats. They've been sleeping for so long, they'll probably want to play in a bit. They really like doing like the toy on a string. We'll jump up and try to grab it. Yeah, the phone mic I think is like a condenser mic, and this is a dynamic mic. Dynamic mics probably have better bass, but they don't capture, like if I'm over here and speaking, it's way less loud than if I'm like right here, but the phone mic is going to capture a wider area and more sound. They actually sound more natural than a dynamic mic, but... Oh, they're fighting now. We purposely use dynamic mics because they don't pick up all the sound that's happening outside of our general vicinity.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm back.
My camera's been taken over by the cat cam.
Oh, good. That's a good. Oh, cats are on the move.
Meowing at me.
Oh, here he is. I just saw him get off the bed to bother you. I can see him bothering you in your mirror, kind of. Oh, you sweetie. They're so sweet. I was just on the phone with Paul, and he's like, "How are the cats?" And I was like, "I don't know. I kind of want to keep them." And he's like, "Mm-hmm." And I was like, "Mm-hmm." And then he was just like, "I love cats." And I was like, "Yeah, so I'm saying I want to keep them." And he was like, "I do too."
I also want to keep them. I feel like...
I don't know. That's 3 for 3.
That's 3 cats. You're through to Hollywood. American Idol style.
Right? Yeah, that's true. That's a ticket. Oh my gosh. Look at them. They're cuddling now. I don't know. They're pretty...
They're doing some grooming.
They're pretty great, and they're pretty. I feel like maybe we do a Twitch poll. Should we keep these cats?
Nobody does know for that. I'm banning you from our channel. All right, Dave is getting $1 million. Woof. Which is worth 93 cents today.
Oh, that had been like $1.60 before.
Twelter's getting 500,000. I think. Can't remember. Twelter might have won one earlier too. Might be lucky today. And in third place we have Random King, who gets 250K.
Hell yeah. Cat adoption confidence raised to 99. Yeah. It was already pretty close to like 90. It's in the 90s for sure. I mean, say, yeah, kind of. That's kind of the thing, Monosuerte, is like, it's definitely like, it's like a 10 to 20 year commitment to adopt cats like this. But they're so fucking awesome, and there's no way I'd regret that. Right? I don't know. I mean, look at them.
All right, I'm making a Twitch poll.
It's, yeah. I mean, weigh the like cons too. That's definitely it's effort. It's what are the other cons? It's
the litter box was my biggest.
Yeah, there's a litter box
issue, which is definitely a bit of a nuisance, but also I don't know. Just got to find out a better place to store one of those scooters.
Yeah, I'm voting yes. So I'm biasing the vote first here. There's a vote. Should we keep the cats? I feel like. Oh wow, I have no heart. Yeah, see, I love cats.
Do you see them? Marcy's in the picture. That's why they're all.
Oh, yep. I see her in the foreground on the. Oh, look, they're both interested. Hello, sweetie. See, look at that. And they like. I feel like they'll come around. They'll all cuddle one of these days. Oh, Monosuerte. Too many other critters. It's like a zoo in here already. Look at that.
The one cat's purring while looking at Marcy.
Oh my goodness. And look at Marcy loves the cats. She wants to go be and hang out with them, and she wants to be part of the pride. And exactly, she matches the cats. She looks already like she's part of the group. We can't split these guys up. I don't know. We got one no vote. Uh-oh. But we got 4 yeses, so who's the heartless no voter?
Which is the guy from the Wizard of Oz? Like the Tin Man has no heart or something?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, he needs a heart.
You guys are Tin Manning out there.
If you only had a heart, you would vote yes for the cats. It's like, 5-1 already.
It's from right below me.
Yes, the yeses have it. Nice knowing you. Sounds getting banned. Yep. 1 no vote. Who got banned?
Monosuerte.
Wow.
Why are you so evil?
And do you have 3 of your own cats? What, you just trying to hoard cats? You don't want anyone else to have cats? That's not cool, bro. I mean, I had cats growing up a bunch, and like I had my cat for 18 years. Like, they'd get old and they had a great life, and I never regretted it, even though it was work to move with them, to like find apartments that would accommodate them, and to pay higher deposits for them. None of that ever felt like not worth it. And I honestly, other than like traveling and having someone watch the cats, which like Lewis can do that most of the times anyway. And I don't think it's that difficult to find a pet sitter for animals that aren't like a nuisance. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of no, like, send the cats back in me at the moment. These cats are oh, you tried to swap it to yes last second. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Kids. Here, check it out. Lewis is out here and they're chasing the cat toy. God damn it. My camera fucking crap out when I was trying to show the cats. Camera? Where's my camera? Video source. There it is. Refresh, baby. Disable video. And re-enable. Okay. It's got to reload. There we go. No! Waiting for camera to load. There we go. Boom. There it is. It's on the. Okay, right now they're not springing into action. Yeah, that was a pretty good leap. Yeah, he's holding on with his life. Oh, so you know what you should tell me in the chat that Paul said to me recently that I had never heard before, but he says there's the stereotype for tuxedo cats, like the little black and white cat we have there, is that they're dumb. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's jumped over his homie. So is that something you've heard before? Are tuxedo cats dumb? Ah, hello. These little sweeties.
Those little cats got hops. What's going on, Sensei Bullrog? We're cat sitting right now, so we have the cat cam in full action. That's Gaspar, the all black one, and his brother Jean-Pierre in the background. Although if we keep them, I think Max wants to rename them. I do think the tuxedo one is a little dumb, but that's why I love him. He tries to
Yeah, is that a stereotype we've heard before? Anyone's heard before about little kitties?
he does
Little
try to fight
tuxedo
himself
cats
in the
dumb?
mirror, which I feel like is not a super great sign of intelligence. Like, he scares himself in the mirror and then also like jump at the mirror and slap it when he sees himself. And he's also fallen in the toilet and stuff. Like this early this morning, like 5 a.m., like I went to my bathroom and there's just like little dirty foot paws all over my toilet. I think he tried to jump up there and like fell in. Either that or he's drinking out of it, but
Both not great. Now he's just walking around with the cat toy in his mouth, and his homies chasing the cat toy as it's dragging behind him.
They're
Classic
so
cat
cute.
stuff. It's exactly what I need in my life. Exactly what like it's what you pay for. Why is it
Prince
off?
Paradox says he wants the neon sign on.
Oh, okay. Hold on, put that on. Also, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I had to turn the camera back around because it is kind of a mess in here.
I'll probably do the litter box after we finish streaming. We need to empty that. Mono Suerte said, I've never heard that about tuxedo cats. My wife's family had one for close to 20 years, and he was the most stoic animal I ever knew. I do feel like he's pretty stoic, Pierre, compared to Gaspar.
Boom.
Pierre,
Yeah, he's more
he
stoic,
doesn't
but
meow.
not.
He doesn't
I
like
wouldn't
meow or whine
describe
like
him as-
Gaspar does.
I wouldn't describe him as stoic though. He's still like pretty active.
He's pretty goony. The way he jumps is really funny. He like jumps and like throws his arms out. It looks super not athletic, but that's why I like him. He's my little goober.
Yeah, he's about as athletic as I am, which
I
is
don't know.
not much.
He's got hops. You saw how he just
more
hopped.
than I am. More than I am. Here we go. To get up a little higher so I can frame myself better with my neon sign. There we go.
I don't know that animals need to be smart. Like dumb animals are just as lovable, if not more lovable, than smart animals. Ain't nothing wrong with the dumb cat.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Let's see. Mirror test is a classic test for self-awareness. Okay. He seems to be failing. Yeah, I feel like he does. He wants to fight his reflection. The black one does not. I've also heard if you hold them up against the wall, like if they put their paws forward to like stop themselves from hitting the wall rather than just like smushing into the wall, that has something to do with intelligence. But who the fuck knows? Honestly, I feel like intelligence tests for humans are like hard to like trust. So I doubt that they are anywhere near trustworthy for animals.
According to Google, Paul is 100% wrong. It says tuxies are the strongest swimmers of all domestic felines, but heaven help the human who tries to get them in the water. Tuxedo cat owners have also been known to describe their cats as more intelligent than cats with any other coat pattern. Some say tuxies are up to 200% smarter than other cats. Let's go to Kiora. Is it a myth that tuxedo cats are up to 200% smarter than the average domestic house cat? This has 60
So they're
upvotes.
smarter. Some say. Yes,
We have a beautiful tuxedo cat that we named Puddinhead. That's a good name for a cat.
Oh.
And we certainly didn't name him Puddinhead because he's 200% smarter than the average cat. It's actually difficult to measure intelligence in kitties, although Puddinhead tends to fall off things, get outsmarted by his little sister, gets his head caught in objects, got beaten up by a bunny, managed to glue his whiskers together, and many other not so intelligent things. Okay, this is not good evidence.
Ooh, it's not boding well for the tuxedos.
So although
Sorry,
Puddinhead certainly might not appear as smart as his little sister, just about every other cat we've shared our lives with, he's exactly the life he wants to live and probably enjoying every moment. And in that respect, he's probably a whole lot smarter than most humans I know. I feel like that checks out for Pierre.
I feel like that, yeah. And that's a good point about, like, I don't need my pet to be, like, my intellectual equal. It's okay to have a dumb pet. like, I'm not going to, like, have conversations with it other than, like, who's a good boy, you know?
This is another question. It says, tuxedo cats are not the smartest cats. So I guess it is, like, people are talking shit about tuxedo cat smartness.
They're talking shit, yeah.
But are they the best looking? That's a pretty cute cat.
Oh, I like how one of them called them tuxies, little tuxies.
Yeah. This guy's got
he's so cute. He's got a little tux on.
3,000 upvotes. It says, it was a cold January evening, and outside my house, I heard a pathetic mewling. I traced it to a cat I could barely make out hidden in the overgrown bushes. Thought something was wrong with it, but I couldn't coax it out. I tried walking to it, but as I approached closer, it drew further into the bushes. So I went out with my wife to dinner and something else, and when we returned, the scrawny tuxedo cat had managed to crawl up my frozen steps. It was right in my front door. The cat was badly broken. Someone had smashed its pelvis and leg. That's fucked. I was
Oh.
shivering with cold and weak from pain. I already had 4 cats, so I put a space heater, blanket box, and a half can of food, some water, makeshift litter box in the vestibule and planned to take it to the Mashlek Community Veterinarian the next day. There's a long line, but when the woman in the counter saw the cat, she rushed us right in. The first vet had x-rays done and noticed one leg was only hanging on by muscle and skin. But this brave little cat somehow made friends with these hard and tough veterinarians and techs. They all came in to see this and pet this poor cat. She offered purrs. It was just so sweet, even though she was really messed up. They showed me how bad it was on x-ray and suggested that if she made it through the weekend, I should take her to my regular vet. They showed me how multiple fractures made it, that there were perforations on the intestines, gave me what should have been a fatal amount of painkiller, and everyone said a sad goodbye to the cat I avoided naming. Monday morning, and my overbooked vet made an exception and was surprised by the cat was still alive. When he saw the x-rays, he took his own, he said better x-rays, and decided some miracle there were no vital organs punctured. This cat also made friends with them, his partners, and all the techs in his clinic too. He referred us to a cat orthopedic surgeon. Again, at the surgeon's clinic, everyone quickly developed genuine affection for this cat. The surgeon put Hoshi Sato, I had the name her by then,